Hello and welcome to our playthrough of Detective, a modern crime board game, published by Portal Games and designed by Ignacy. I would butcher that last name. We're going to be doing the first case, so spoiler warning. And now with the current situation in the world, I had to do some modifying to play this game with my friends from across the world. And as a heads up, we're going to get some of the rules wrong. But at the end of the day, it's a game that tells a story, and we had fun, so that's what counts. Please enjoy. But detectives, welcome to Antares, the most high-tech investigation agency in the world. While working for Antares, you'll operate under the jurisdiction of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, so consider yourselves servants of the public justice system. During our first...
I live for justice.
They live for justice, and with me today, I have three of the finest investigative minds that agreed to do this. I have Miss Rhodey Pie.
Oh, hello. I'm ready for some detecting.
I have the Brambles.
We're going to try to get to the bottom of this.
And the one and only Wix Life.
Wait, I'm the third? No, I'm the worst mind. Excuse?
And then we have Consultant Char Char because our fifth didn't show up. But he's adorable, so he's there.
It is
the most important one.
The most important one. It's so true. Look at this little face. This little cat. But the backstory on Detective during our first year of operation will be examined closely by the public, the media, and the U.S. Department of Justice. Our agency was informed to solve the most unusual cases using the latest achievements in computer science, forensics, and psychology. And now you get to do your part. There's no room for error, no room for doubt, only your professionalism, your ethics, and your particular sets of complementary skills. Skills that you will soon put to good use. Don't let anything stop you from solving the case. All right.
complimentary skills. I thought we'd get complimentary mints.
I know. Trust me. I know this. So each of us, we do have our own character powers, but we'll get into that once we get into the first case in our detective game. So we're gonna have a set amount of time in this game called Detective to finish and solve a case. So we're gonna have to use deductive reasoning. This is 100% cooperative, story driven, and it doesn't hold your hand. You really need to use deductive reasoning in this game, to say the least. So our first case, ladies and gentlemen and char-chars, is a man with a golden watch. In front of you lies the first scenario of the campaign. Oh. Well, hey, I broke immersion already. The mystery of the golden watch. During the investigation, focus on the primary objective assigned to you by your superiors. Carefully look over every branching thread related to this case. Some of them are irrelevant, while others will unlock new meaning in future cases, allowing you to see them in a different light. Scattered throughout the cases are fragments of a greater whole that will slowly start piercing together. Remember the important initial leads presented to you in this intro. Take good notes, ideally in the form of a mind map. Carefully read the cards and try to draw valid conclusions before deciding to pursue the further leads. Most importantly, do not rush from card to card. Doing this will take you down a rabbit hole of information, causing the investigation to spiral out of control due to the sheer volume of information. Good luck. So at the either when we accumulate so much stress that we are forced to end immediately, or once we reach the last day, how we decide if we have kind of won or not is we'll be answering a series of questions in this little database that's kind of behind our overlay right now. That will, so on the left-hand side, it'll say final report. We answer some questions and see how we did. They'll all be relative to the case that we're doing. So, the case, we are at Antares headquarters, July 5th. It's 8:11 Eastern Standard Time. The briefing room located on the first floor of the newly built building complex seems sterile. Light, creamy walls with glazed windows overlooking the James River. A large white table, chromed handrails of black chairs, and a gray carpet fills the room. Despite being light and spacious, it lacks warmth. "Hello," says Delaware as he rolls his wheelchair to the head of the table. He was a tired, wrinkled face, Long strands of gray hair fall over his piercing eyes. He places his green notebook on the table. The task at hand is quite peculiar. The State Department has asked Antares to investigate a potential scandal. A few days ago, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Poland sent a confidential note asking for clarifications of an unusual event. Earlier, in the Ying auction house, a pocket watch with a gold-plated bezel appeared. It turns out to be serious. The watch is in the database of objects lost during World War II. The Poles identified it as a showpiece that was looted by the Germans from the Museum of the Land in Posen, Poland, during the occupation of Poland. For Poles, it has both symbolic and sentimental value and was a memento of the great pianist Ignacy Paderewski. According to the data provided by the Poles, the watch was stolen by a Nazi named Kurt Blutholz. Blutholz.
Sorry.
Yep. Kurt Blutholz. Oh wow. All right. Oh, he was a real he was a real Blutholz. Of course, you'll find records about him in our database. He clears his throat, glances at his notebook as if he was trying to remember something, and then resumes his briefing. The auction house bought the watch for about $5,000 from a man named Rupert Owens, who apparently did not realize how valuable the item was. The watch is already secured in our evidence store. The matter is delicate. If this Blutholz, by some strange stroke of luck, had lived after the war in the United States, it would be very unfortunate for political reasons. At least that's what the current administration thinks. Worse yet, the press will begin to sniff around. It's only a matter of time before the issue turns into a scandal that I would very much like to avoid in the first year of this agency's operation. Our task is to find answers before someone finds questions. He looks over to the briefing room, checks his notes, and sighs heavily. And finally, one very sad piece of information. The morning after tomorrow at the Olvit Cemetery, Michael Slatler's funeral will take place. As you know, he was one of the police consultants who helped create our unit. He was the victim of a hit and run. Nasty end to a perfect career in the police force. It'd be nice if someone from our team could attend the funeral. We'll gather at Richmond PD at 8 a.m. the day after tomorrow. From there, the police column will go to the cemetery. All right. So that is our backstory. So prepping the case, we start out at 9 a.m. on the first day. We get 4 authority tokens. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the goal of the case: investigate the events leading up to the watch from Poland ending up in the Ying auction house. Discover all stages and find evidence to confirm them. We have 4 days to finish the investigation, and we have a stress limit for this case is 7. Stress there'll be cards that'll add to our stress, and the other portion is our time track that we have here. So we go from our normal working day is 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. If for some odd reason in one of the days we go past 4 p.m., for each hour we go over, we accumulate 1 stress. If we hit that threshold of 7, we end the game immediately by going to that final report. So we could botch this so badly that we ended on day 1.
That's why self-care is important.
Yeah, exactly. you got to take care of yourself. So our initial leads to this case, let's take a look here. We have access to Kurt Blutholz's police news. So if we go to our little Antares database here and go Kurt...
Unfortunate name.
Yeah. All right. Hopefully you guys can see or read that.
It's a bit small, so it's fine. I'll just put it on.
Okay.
The database I've got here for myself.
If someone else wants to, like, if they're able to see it, read that addendum or anything, go for it.
Okay, high-ranking German microbiologist and scientist. During the war, he conducted research on biological weapons and transplants, experimented with using sarin to kill prisoners of the concentration camp in Auschwitz-Birkenau. An international arrest warrant has been issued. Status unknown. Officially, he is wanted by the Polish and the Russian governments.
And then criminal record. Anyone else want to read?
Sure. The Polish bill of indictment for the Nuremberg trial names him as one of the criminals and documents witness testimonies. The bill, over 100 pages long, contains the most important facts and documents regarding Nazi crimes against the Polish nation. This bill was attached to the Soviet bill of indictment due to the fact that the Polish delegation could not formally partake in the works of the tribunal, since the London Agreement of August 8, 1945, ensured that only the representatives of the four powers, speaking on behalf of all nations, were present.
All right, and then Wix, if you're able to see it, do you want to read out the charges?
Well, sure. Legal carrying out of microbiological and chemical tests on Poles imprisoned in the Auschwitz concentration camp and the prisoners of Fort 7 from Posen. 137 cases of experiments resulting in death were documented. Active participation in criminal organization, probable connection to Otto Skorzeni's organization Spider.
All right, so we do have a further leads. We could seek out the assistance of a history consultant concerning Kurt at headquarters. But right now, we do have a couple of other free things that we can take a look at. So if we start going to different cards, that's going to cost us our time. Also, moving from location to location is also going to... So right now, we start the game at the courthouse, not at... Or we start the game at headquarters, not the courthouse.
Okay.
Let me get that fixed here. Headquarters. So if we want to move to any other location, we select where we want to go. It costs us 1 hour to move. Let's see. The next thing on our opening further leads. Let me get this pulled back down. We have the police files on Rupert Owens. So we'll go back to database. And we've got Rupert Owens. Somebody want to read out that criminal record? Oh.
Okay.
Yep.
Arrested on May 20th, 1979 for possession with intent to distribute a controlled substance, sentenced to 6 months in prison. Arrested on June 20th, 1986 for selling a controlled substance, sentenced to 2 years in prison. Arrested on May 13th, 2011 for indecent exposure and breach of peace, sentenced to a fine and community service. Arrested on March 15th, 2012 for causing a traffic accident while driving under the influence, damaging public property, a fire hydrant, sentenced to 3 months of community service, fined $20,000 and directed to mandatory treatment for drug and alcohol addiction. Sorry, was that $2,000? Sorry.
It's all right.
I was like, whoa. Sorry, $2,000.
No worries. So we do have fingerprints on Rupert Owens that we now have matched. So yay team. That could help us out a little bit later on. And the other things that we can do with him, we know known connections of Marcus Owens, the father, and Lily Garrett, the mother. So those are the free actions we have right now. A couple of items that we could do in our opening further leads that I've got marked in our leads section here. At HQ, we can go to evidence storage. We could, at headquarters, interrogate Rupert Owens, or we could go to field work and interrogate the auction house owners. Anyone have thoughts on where they would like to begin?
So what are the 3 things we can do first?
So without so we can look into, let's see, where is he? So Rupert's the known connections on Marcus and Lily. We can take a look at those. Otherwise, without moving anywhere, because we're at headquarters, we can go to the evidence storage or interrogate Rupert. But those could cost us time. So each of the cards that we go through has a how much time they take up on them. So the only free things that we have is Marcus Owens here.
And Lily.
Yep, and Lily. And it looks like we do have a match of some sort. Okay, we've got fingerprints for both. That might be good for later. Anyone? Some Wix, if you can see that, you want to read criminal record on him?
Sure. This is for.
This is Marcus Owens, the father of Rupert.
Yeah. Looks like 2 arrests of suspicion. Wow, words. So what we got? Arrests on September 29th of 1966 for buying, receiving, or concealing stolen goods, fined and released. Arrested, looks like about 1 year later, on June 15th, 1967, after a shootout and charged with failure to obey a police officer. Hearing ID, and over in Richmond. Suspected of being an accomplice to a robbery. Case file, yes. Charge dropped due to insufficient evidence, and since 8 years in prison with possibility of applying parole after 3 years for being an accomplice to car theft, handling stolen goods, resisting arrest, failure to obey a police officer. While in prison, he wanted to cooperate with the prosecutor's office. However, he was found dead before he could share any information.
And yeah, so he was murdered in prison, buried at Oakwood Cemetery. We do have another potential lead that I'll get typed into our leads here, which is so one of the options is we can go get the incident data on the robbery. That is, we'd have to go to the Richmond Police Department. For that one, should we also get a little bit of info on the mother, Lily?
Yeah, since it's free.
Exactly. So Lily Garrett, the ex-wife.
Free, no reason not to.
Oh, no picture or anything. Just date of birth 34. Died in 79 at 45. Cause of death was diabetes. So not a ton of info.
Not much there.
No. All right, detectives. Where shall we begin? So, we are currently at headquarters right now with with 3 headquarters options. We can go to evidence storage. We can interrogate. I don't remember what 108 was. I think it was a file or something.
So our overall goal is to figure out how this watch
came from
history, basically.
Came from Poland and ended up at the auction house.
Just want to go over the information.
Yeah.
When did it turn up at the auction house?
It seems, it was just bought, for 5,000. So the auction house bought the watch from Rupert. I don't have an exact win on it.
Right. Okay.
So we know Rupert was in possession of it, sold it to the auction house, but where did it go from there?
Right. Well, we need to know how did it end up in the auction house. So we know that Rupert acquired it somehow. We don't know when. I mean, I'm thinking maybe it might have been in his father's possession, since his father was receiving and buying stolen goods, but
Yeah, that would be my guess. While we're at headquarters, we could interrogate Rupert while he's here.
How many hours will that
won't know. Until the card comes out, we don't know how long an action could take. Tip at most it is 4 hours, at minimum 1 to 2.
Okay. And
but we don't lose any travel time.
As long as we stay at headquarters. So everything over in the lead section, I've got with like HQ, FW for field work, like where it's at. That 134 is on the day 3, because that's the funeral. So we can only do that at a certain time on the 3rd day.
Okay. So if we interrogate him, we can still investigate the lead.
Yes.
Afterwards.
As long as we don't run out of time, yeah.
Right. Okay. I think it's a good place to start interrogating him.
Because it's either that or the evidence storage, one of the two.
Oh, how long does the evidence storage take?
Same issue. We don't know until it comes up.
Okay, gotcha.
But that's here at the HQ, right?
Correct.
All right. Yeah, that's Okay.
So each location, the lab, the PD, headquarters, courthouse, and field work, wherever we move to on those cost 1 hour. But if we're already at one of those, it doesn't cost that. There's no travel time cost.
Yeah. I mean, I vote for interrogating him since we're already there.
Okay.
And it's not costing us anything, but, what does everyone else would like to do?
Sounds solid to me. What's in the evidence area? Like, what do we have that we can look at for evidence?
So I would assume the evidence may actually be the watch itself.
Okay.
That would be my guess, but we could possibly, and it may have fingerprints, or it could have indentations. It could have some markings.
The other thing I'd ask is, does having prior information help with going to interrogation in this game or not?
It potentially could.
That's fair. Yeah, because it could be to gather everything first and then come at him with.
Because something I might ask then is, do we want to look at the watch and then go to him, or vice versa?
And what's the other thing at HQ that we have? There's 3 at HQ.
Yeah, the third one's that 115, which I would have to take a look at because I don't remember where we got that off of. It's not in my little book right now. So let's see. Personnel files. I want to say that was on Kurt. Assistance of a history consultant concerning Kurt Bloodholtz.
Right. Okay.
So, do we wish to check the evidence storage first? Or do we wish to go talk to Rupert?
I mean, the evidence might help us when we talk to Rupert. I don't know how much the history consultant will.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Yeah,
I know. I'm convinced.
we brought Rhodey to the side of check evidence.
Yeah.
All right, so what's that? Evidence storage is 103. Let me get that up here. All right, so this eats an hour on us. Let me get that moved. The only part of this I didn't consider was how to do that with the card on top. So we're now at 10 a.m. And would someone like to read that? If you're able to.
So sure. Is that 2 hours because we got the travel time and
nope,
and
we did not travel. We started at HQ.
Oh, okay,
so that's here. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I can go ahead and read it.
Cool.
Antares evidence storage is a huge hangar back from when the police station was still located here. The police station was moved and the evidence storage stayed. The agency pumped a ton of money into it, added a second hall, automated it as much as was possible, and rigged everything with the Antares computer system. You log into the system, enter the ID number, case number, and verification code, then immediately go to the virtual evidence storage. There are 2 items attached to the case. In the picture next to the watch, there's also a cigar box. The watch must have been kept inside of it. Where did it come from? Interesting. Okay, so we've got 2 items.
All right.
It's time to collect both of the items personally. The system informs you that you can collect both of them within 37 minutes from box 28 in section 2 of the magazine. You choose the SMS confirmation, and after a while, get a barcode to open the box. You log out of the system, quickly go to grab a bite at the Antares cafeteria, a Greek salad, coffee, and a bottle of water. I would eat that.
Yeah, right.
You go to evidence storage.
All right. So for freebies, at least as far as I can tell, we now read 121. All right. So we have evidence: open men's pocket watch. Description: case body with 22 karat gold ornamentation. Clear, poured and polished glass, a crack halfway from 2 o'clock. Porcelain dial, broken mechanism, spring type, Swiss inscription on the lid, God honor, homeland, in Polish. About 3.3 ounces, 2.5 inches, estimated value $25,000. Mechatronic expertise, numerous scratches, and a slight dent at the hinges of the envelope. And then our little symbol down here at the bottom right means we get to flip the card over for freebies. So let me grab that, which is the B side of 121. And that is B cards, which moved over to the right. Someone else want to read the cigar box?
So we got description: wooden box produced in 1940 by Dukes de Crecy. Good condition. In the middle, cardboard insert lined with cotton. Apothecary. Dimensions, estimated value $15. And then from the cotton wool and corners of the box, a series of micro traces of dirt and dust particles have been collected.
And now we have a further lead. You can take the watch and the box to the laboratory to examine them and look for fingerprints. That is number 102 at the lab. So we have a cigar box and the watch, but sadly it didn't give us a ton else currently.
Well, shoot. I was hoping we'd already have the fingerprints.
Yeah, it kind of makes 2 of us.
We're going to assume that Rupert's fingerprints are going to be on it because we know that he had it in his possession at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it would make sense.
Should we, at least while we're here at headquarters, should we just go talk to Rupert?
Sounds good.
Because the only other thing we have at headquarters is get more information on the blood holes, which I'm sticking with saying it like that from now on, because I'm a monster like that. So yeah, we might as well go talk to Rupert.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
So
I concur.
indeed, a wise choice.
Yes, yes.
All right, so this is 108. How much time? Oh, 3 hours.
Oof.
Ugh.
Lengthy interrogation. I hope we get some good info.
No kidding. So we go to 1 o'clock on that. All right, someone wanna read that one?
Hold on a second. I'm trying to. But yeah, someone else can read. I'm trying to find it.
I can go ahead. Owens is already waiting outside the conference room. He refuses to start the interrogation without his lawyer present. The lawyer arrives late, that's all the time, and gives you the business card of Weber and Son for some reason. You invite them inside. They both seem to be extremely agitated. You plug the laptop into the room system, log into your account, you turn on the interrogation mode, and the first of the screens that take up the entire wall turns on. Several pop-up windows, the largest of which is the stream from the camera. Another is vibrating with the audio amplitude, and the third one is full of text. You point at the screen. I inform you that our meeting is being recorded. Additionally, our system will prepare a transcript of the meeting. You switch to the case screen and post the image from your laptop to the second screen. On the wall, magnified 100-fold, is Owens' police file and the mugshots from his arrest. Skip over a dozen documents on him. Horrified, Owens shrinks in his chair. Finally, the photo of the golden watch appears on the screen. Okay, you say, looking carefully at Owens. Could you please explain how you found yourself in the possession of a watch that was stolen from Poland during World War II?
Okay, so now we go back to this guy here and go to questioning 108. So this is going to have something a little bit different on it. There's going to be these little sections where it says MSL, LSL, MSL, or HSL. That is low, medium, or high stress level. If it's a high stress level, we, using our intuition, we believe he's probably lying. If it's a medium, it's a coin toss. If it's low, odds are he's telling the truth.
Right.
Would anyone like to read the interview?
I can do it if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. The watch must have been my father's, Marcus. I found it more or less a month ago when I was tearing through the old house, under the porch. I was pulling away the floorboards when I saw something underneath. It was an old metal can, and inside there was a box. In that box, I found the watch. I got excited and thought it would solve my financial problems. I googled someone who dealt with this kind of stuff, asked around a bit, and just went to sell it. I have no idea where my old man got that watch, see. I was still a kid when that son of a bitch left me and my mum. I remember being so happy. It was actually a blessing. My old man was a horrible jackass. He beat Mum. His friends weren't any better. He always was a coward. You know, the type that is always in the shadow of someone bigger. The type that sucks up to people. Like, oh, I got it. Like, Frito Coloni. Sorry, Corleone.
Corleone from The Godfather.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm
no,
not.
it's fine. It's fine.
Woo. I can't remember any of his friends' names though. They were never at the house. Always at a bar, drunk. I do recall one of them had a scar on his face, as if someone put out a cigar on it. He was as short as my pops. I think he also had dark hair. They were always drinking together and did some business. Dark alley crooks, all of them. That's all I remember. It was a long time ago. The evening before his arrest, he came home wasted. I remember the exact day, because that night the Mariner 5 was launching, and I spent all day and evening with my friends talking about it. We all wanted to be astronauts in those days. He started yelling at my mother, then suddenly gave her a pendant and some money, as an apology, I guess. Then he pretended to go work on the porch. I think he left before midnight. I didn't want to see that bastard ever again. I have no idea who snuffed him in jail, and I don't care. He deserved it. I think it was right before that he sent a letter to Mum about needing something. He said there was something big happening. He could make a lot of money. Mum was so upset she burnt the letter. The years after his death were good until Mum died when I was 20. It hit me real hard, and I went down a slippery slope. I ended up behind bars. I don't know what he was talking about in that letter. The cops didn't even ask about it. They might have spoken about it with Mum at the police station. That's all I know.
Okay, so that last part was definitely completely truthful, but in the beginning he could have been lying about some stuff. The one thing someone may want to do, and then this little symbol next to the Mariner 5 is the symbol for you may want to Google search it. Because right now he was saying he remembers the exact day because that was the night the Mariner 5 was launching. So if someone may want to look up the launch date on the Mariner 5.
So that's June 14th, 1967.
Okay. So that might come in handy somewhere.
So using actual Google?
Actual Google. Welcome to this game. It's
interesting.
Yeah. So that is our questioning. The further leads was the police files of Marcus Owen, which we already read. Now we have a option here. But we have to make this decision now. If we don't, we won't be able to come back to it. With an exception. And I'll get to that here in a second. So we could spend our questioning token, which we only have one available for the game, and we could press Owens further. Now, Investigator Brambles has a power, which is spend an authority and a skill token to dig deeper on a lead card that has already been resolved. So when we go away from this card, you could say, hey, let's go back to that 108, but it would cost us the authority and our questioning token. So that is your special power.
And our special powers can be used as long as we fulfill that?
So it is once per day, with the exception of Wix's power. Wix has spend one authority to remove the X token from another investigator, which means they've used their skill. So we could use yours multiple times, or at least twice in a turn if we used Wix's power.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then Rhodey's is spend one of our authority spend one authority to change a skill token of any type from the pool into a wild card. And mine is spend 2 authority to add a wild card to the token pool. So that is would we
What wild cards?
Wild card can be used for any purpose. So right now we would have to use a questioning token to press Owens further. We could use a questioning or a wild.
I see.
And then the other thing that we have on the bottom is this 120 at HQ, which is information on Weber and Son, which is the lawyer. So, do we want to press Owens further, or what would we like to do?
So the tokens get replenished after. No, they don't get replenished. They don't get replenished after a day.
They do not.
Right. Okay.
We have a chance of getting them back on cards or using our powers. So, like yours, you can change something else into a wild. I can generate using authority. But otherwise, they do not replenish at the end of the day.
How many wild cards do we have right now?
0.
Okay.
We have 2 research, 1 technology, 1 perception, and 1 questioning. No wild.
Right.
So do we want to try to press him? Because we can always use Bramble's power to come back to this card. It would just cost us 1 of our authorities.
And one of the other tokens, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's a little costly to come back, but it all depends on how much more you think we could get out of Owens. Otherwise, we still have we can get the more info on Bloodholtz. We've got the at the field work, the interrogate the auction house. We had a couple of the we've got the evidence at the lab, but we're also down to 3 hours left on our first day.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So if we travel, that automatically takes an hour.
Takes an hour. So because yeah, we're at headquarters. So to go to the lab, the PD, or field work will cost an hour, and then whatever the card has on it. For each hour we go over, we add to our stress count, and our stress limit is 7.
We can go to the lab tomorrow, can't we? These options to go, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Everything we have sticks around into the next days and beyond. The only one that's the exception is that 134 that I've got starred, because that is the funeral on the 3rd day.
Right, gotcha.
Right. Now, do we think any of these will last 2 hours or less? Checking out the evidence? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the question.
I think lab work could take a while, because you're waiting around, aren't you? It's not usually like instantaneous.
Well,
you
that's
probably
true.
get the bring up the fingerprints fairly easily, but if it's anything else, like they've got the soil samples as well, but I don't know. I don't know how this game plays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep, it's very much a kind of learn how much it wants to dick you over as you get into it, and that's why I'm being a little
yeah.
coy and not pressing you guys in a direction. As I said, I know it's a little more mysterious getting into it, and you're just trying to get as much information as you can. But I also have to let you get bit in the butt on a few occasions too.
That's life for you.
Yep.
Yeah, true.
So, and at least you're using deductive reasoning on the lab could take a while. But if we try to maybe knock it out on the first day, we might be able to get some more info, because we can start the second day going elsewhere.
Right.
And then we don't maybe have to worry about going back to the lab.
Now, the further leads, that's just another thing we can do here, correct?
This is available. So it says that further leads on the bottom is the information on the lawyers that Weber and Sons, and it's at headquarters, so where we're currently at. I don't know why we would give two hoops and a hollers about the lawyer.
And it's so much.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, oh cool, thanks for giving us your card. We probably don't want to have a relationship with you.
You're representing our suspect?
Thing is, if we question it, we question him further, like go back to question him further, it's going to cost a lot more tokens. But
Yeah.
as you said, if we go to the lab and get the information, it's like we can start doing something else the next day. I don't know. I'm just looking at the things where it says MSL, and it's like,
Yep.
so
The medium stress where he could be lying to us, and why the hell is he lying to us about?
Yeah, so the watch must have been my father's markers.
He found it more or less a month ago. So we know the cell was within, or to the auction house was within a month.
Yeah. And he said, I got excited and thought it would solve my financial problems. I googled someone who dealt with this kind of stuff, asked around a bit, and just went to sell it.
So it's medium, and he has no idea where the old man got the watch. Just a kid, and I could see him maybe not necessarily knowing where it was, or where his father got it from.
But then again, there are all these like shady characters in his life as well. Is like his friends weren't any better. He always was a coward, the type that is always in the shadows of someone bigger, the type that sucks up to people. And then it's, there's another MSL there. So it's like, so you're part of a mob family then. Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. And you wondering if he's kind of protecting someone to protect himself. He's not giving it names there.
Yeah, exactly. So pressing him may not be a terrible idea, especially towards the end. He was starting to lighten up and be a lot more honest.
Yeah.
So pressing him, we might get a little bit more detail from him.
What are you guys thinking?
Yeah.
I'm tempted by that only because we're here versus going to the lab and trying to start something new. You could always start the next day at the lab.
Yeah.
So the next day, so each day we auto start at headquarters.
Oh, never mind then.
Well, shoot.
With the exception of the third day.
And I'm just skimming some information about that the spider organization that was on when we looked at blood holds. Now that I know what the Google symbol is.
Yeah. Because I did a great job explaining. I'm so sorry.
Hey, you got us the second time.
So yeah, the Otto Scorenzi's organization Spider. So, do we push him while we're here? Do we attempt to try to knock the lab stuff out? How are we feeling? What do we think we could even learn from the lab? Because we know the father and the son have both touched the damn thing.
Yeah. I personally feel like we could push him further, although I'm wondering what we could get out of him if he's getting very protective about someone. You know, he might just seize up. Plus, he's got his lawyer there, and his lawyer might.
His lawyer could shut him up, and we just lose the token.
Yeah, pretty much.
Lawyers.
So yeah.
But yeah, we
just investigate the lawyers, bring them down.
I mean, we can. We've got the look into him at headquarters.
Oh.
Justice.
We can do it. Let's bring him down. Weber and Sons no more. Weber in prison, bitch, is more like it now. Sorry, I blacked out there for a second.
What's everyone leaning towards?
So I'm leaning lab or pressing. It's field work.
Yeah.
I think we would rather go start on field work at another time. There is a little bit of evidence stuff at the PD, but I don't think it would be enough to justify hopping over to it.
Yeah.
So it would either be knock out the lab or possibly question this guy. I don't know if it'll eat up more time or not. And then maybe still do the lab. But I am wondering about the lawyer part on this.
Right. Because if we can get to the lab and get some helpful information, that'd give us more time to run on it tomorrow, but then we don't know how much time that's going to eat up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because if it maxes out at 2, so if it hits the max out of 4 hours, we'll end up eating 2 stress tokens, but that's not the world's worst. Because we do have a max out of 7.
And does that 7 stay throughout? Like we don't. There's no way to lose stress tokens, right?
Not that I'm aware of. The only other thing we can do to gain authority token is we can always sacrifice 1 hour to gain an authority token. But we can do that once in a day.
But no going to get like a massage to reduce our stress levels.
No, which
Yeah,
sucks. Need to add that.
Well,
Do we push our luck, or do we hold our questioning token for when we maybe talk to somebody else?
because we can do the lab without spending a token, right?
Correct.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I would vote for the lab myself, is where I'm at. Just to knock it out of the way with the current time that we have.
Yeah, because I am wondering like what we could
what we could get out of
thing
it.
we could, yeah, pretty much, because even if he, you know, unless he's going to give us a name for one of his dad's old associates, he's given us a description, so that's still a little something to go on.
True, because we have scar on the face.
Like it was a cigar burn or something,
And then
we've got a cigar box.
True. Interesting. Interessante. All right, Wix, what you leaning towards?
I am completely torn. I guess the lab. We can do that. I'm down with the lab.
Brambles, Rhodey, what?
Yeah, I'm happy to go to the lab. Yeah.
All right, so I gotta figure out what mouse I have. I've made this system way too complicated. So we jumped 2 o'clock. We moved to the lab. Look at how fancy that is. Yay. And now we grab card 102.
Is that in questioning or is it other?
What's that?
The-
So the lab 102 card is
Yeah.
literally just a card. So it'll pop up here in a second.
I know, but I can't read it there. So where do I put it in the database thing?
Currently nowhere because it's only on the screen.
Oh, no.
It was like the other cards. So hold on here
Okay.
1 second. So this ate up 3 hours on us. So the good
So that
news,
puts us into overtime.
only by 1 hour.
Okay.
So we've one of 7 stress isn't terrible. And then I'll read this one.
I have to say, considering that we started at 9,
Yeah.
they were expecting to finish at 4. Oof.
Yeah, right. But it's been pouring rain for an hour already. The city is still. You take the back streets to avoid the most congested part of the city center. You scan your ID at the entrance. The computer welcomes you and invites you inside. You take the elevator to the 8th floor, walk through a glass door and into the clean world of the White Lab. You log into the lab bench, give the signatures of the evidence materials, tick off the range of research you need at a high priority procedure, and wait for the technician. After a while, in comes a young girl. She puts the watch and the cigar box into separate containers and secures them. The screen with your request turns blue. Data accepted for analysis. Notification of status and the access code will be sent by email. The girl leaves. You have some extra time. You take the elevator to the information center on the 3rd floor. You grab a coffee and a sandwich and a massage that doesn't lower stress. Then you sit with a laptop at one of the free desks. Reports, email, Wikipedia, and reading up on old Polish watches. Finally, you get the notification. They're done with the analysis. You go back to the 8th floor. You log in, input the access code. You have your results.
Please be something good.
All right. This is... Sorry, just trying to catch up. Big bucks, no whammies. Come on. Give me my mouse.
Yeah, you have the hard job over there.
A little bit. 126. Okay, we got stuff to input galore. So we've got cigar box analysis results. Evidence. We have fingerprints on the top of the cigar box. Clear fingerprints of both hands. And then I need to take those numbers and input it onto the database. And I realized a slight technical hiccup I have here of... Oh, wait, actually, never mind. I think I can do this. All right, where is... This is on the signatures. This is ASFFGH 8876YU. All right, we got the fingerprints. We also have fingerprints inside the cigar box, old, well preserved, a clear thumbprint and fingers of the left hand.
So that looks like those were Rupert's fingerprints. At least I'm assuming that's what the little green progress bar, the 92% means.
Yeah, I would assume. I'll double check here in a second for you. 4 KLMDF6. And then a sample of soil from the cigar box. It contains particles of Gernosum with elements of peat enriched with chemical agents for plant breeding. This game's getting steamy with plant breeding.
Spicy.
No, that's if we're breeding peppers.
Ah, valid.
And the last one is fingerprints inside the cigar box. Old, numerous, but partially worn off. 3, 4, 5, 6. HUY86. Okay, let me clear this off. We have fingerprints inside the box. We have a match to a Horatio Dawson. It might help if I have the right stuff here. There we go. So we have Horatio Dawson. We'll add that to the match. Bring this back. They died back in 67. They have an irregular scarring under the shoulder blade and a scar on the neck from a cut.
Oh, can I just...
Yeah.
The date of his death is on the day of the launch of the...
Ooh.
Interesting.
14th of June, 1967.
Okay. Military tattoo on the right shoulder, a pyramid with the motto 7 steps to hell and 6 stars. Arrested in 67, a couple months before his death, for an assault on the retired Colonel Samuel J. Brown. Released due to the charges being dropped. Murder during a robbery. And then we do have some potential further leads on this Horatio. We can get the incident data on the robbery. That's at Richmond PD. Dawson personnel file from the official military personnel files in the Department of Veterans Affairs, which is 113 at HQ. And for freebies, we have the personnel file of one Samuel Brown, who's an interesting looking man. Died in 85. Scar on the right arm. Retired American Army Colonel, World War II veteran in 46, charged with fraud, corruption, and falsifying reports. Restored to service in 49 after being found not guilty by court-martial. In December of 49, he left the service. Due to clerical error, there was a previously wrong date of death in Samuel Brown's file. The error was later corrected after the file was synchronized with the coroner's data. Why was his date of death wrong? How much deeper does this rabbit hole go?
So is somebody impersonating him?
And then we also have read 107 on this, and the ability to use a token to make sure that's all the traces. Let me grab 107 up here.
And neither of these guys had the scar on his face.
No, the previous Horatio had a scar on his neck.
So this does not appear to be that shady individual.
Let's see, that was what, 107. Oh god, we have more. Oh wait, hold on here. What was the last card we had? 126?
Yeah, 126, yeah.
Okay, so we were right on the 107. So, just seeing the make sure that's all the traces, I was like, oh wait, did we need to spend a token for that? But no. Okay, we have fingerprints on the old watch, fingerprints, so 2 sets of fingerprints on the watch, a faulty fingerprint on the watch, and a one on the dial as well. Let's grab.
And those 2 men that you brought up, they're both World War II veterans, and the Horatio was it says he's set 7 steps to hell. They were they're the first US field army to see combat in World War II. So,
and we now officially have matching evidence. The gold watch belonged to Marcus Owens at some point. 7876 YU X U XX 56 XH and C3U224 6346 UB. Oh god, we have something. Oh. Match restricted, access denied.
Oh.
Your match inquiry has been registered and transmitted to the Department of Defense in accordance with Directive 17006. We could spend a token to find out more about the directive. So dig deeper, find more about the directive. Oh god.
Oh my.
Let's see. Let's get this back up here.
Thought they were on our side.
Right? And that would be our one and only technology point if we wanted to find out more about that directive. We also have the ability to, on that 126, to make sure that was all of the traces. That would cost us, I do believe it was a technology or research. I'd have to double check here.
That will give us information on the directive, but not necessarily.
So it's either, using the technology token, it is either make sure that it's all of the traces, or we potentially have this new one, which is the dig deeper to find out more about that directive, which knocked us off of those last fingerprints.
Question.
Yes.
The dig deeper has to be done while we're here, right?
Yep. While we're here and while we're on the card.
Now, what about the fingerprints thing?
So the match traces, we could, seeing it told us to read that next card before anything else, we're still in contention for that one as well.
Gotcha. So we can't come back to the finding more about the directive either.
We may be able to.
Okay. Just trying to figure out how this works.
Yeah, I'm trying to read through on that one a little bit because it's a little weird of why it gave us two at the exact same time. If we do run into two, we are able to check one and then check the other, if we so wish. Okay.
But that could potentially eat up our time.
Right now it should only eat up tokens.
Okay.
Gotcha. That's my concern.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering. I was kind of with you on that one too, but let's see. One is. So otherwise it is. So the options we're kind of running into right now. It's either in the day, or we can start doing some digging of the deepers, and just doing a little bit of a fast glance at stuff, just to verify it doesn't eat up time. Neither eats up time if we dig deeper on either the initiative or if we check the traces.
Well, that's a relief. Still eats up tokens, but we do have them to spend.
Yeah.
And right now, the that analysis one to make sure it's all the traces, and then the directive one, both eat up the same token, which we only have one of.
Oof.
Balls. But if we use one of our abilities for a wildcard, we could.
Yep, we could wildcard them and grab both at the cost of authority, and we can always get authority back by spending, or at least one authority token back by spending an hour.
No, we can spend it like tomorrow, can't we? The authority, or do we have to spend it?
So if we decide to go on to the next day, we would. So the weird portion of this is our powers each only work once in a day.
Right.
So if we use it tomorrow, then we can't do it again until the third day. if we're
Gotcha.
still within the first day right now, and we also, if we cut to the next day, we also lose the dig deeper options.
Gotcha.
Unless we then also use Bramble's power, which is the spend one to spend one and the skill token to dig deeper on a lead guard. Yep. So do we want to check traces? Do we want to dig deeper on this initiative, or do we want to move on to the next day? Because right now we are so the one thought on this one here is we are now missing fingerprints, which could
Doesn't
give
sit
us
right with me.
yeah, which could give us more information, but we would only be checking in on what the hell this directive is all about. Not really telling us the whom. So do we move to the next day, or do we dig deeper?
I'm really curious. I feel like I want to dig deeper, but I don't want to dig on the direct, like why the directive is. It's just like I don't think we get anywhere with that.
Okay.
In particular.
So do you
But
want to
I
check
don't
the
know.
traces instead?
Although, potentially, I mean, I don't know how this works, but if we find out information from the directive, we could find out potentially who it came from.
Quite possibly.
That's what I wonder.
So
Of course, are we
should-
going to be blocked at every turn if we try to investigate said person?
all of these are appropriate questions to be asking in this game. As I said, it doesn't hold your hand at all.
I don't mind if we like if you want to wild card it as well to find out both of these things. If,
Okay.
if that's what people
Yeah.
want to do.
So here's what I will propose. I will propose using my power to drop us down to authority.
Right.
Give us a wild card and spend that on the back of the. Actually, we'll do it on just so I don't lose the prompt here. We'll use it on the directive first, then we'll use it on the other.
Right.
So let's go down authority 2. We'll take our wild card up 1. Drop the wild card. Hopefully that goes to 0. And then
Yep.
we go to 107B. We've got Directive 10706 is new to you. You do not know what it means. The identification attempt has been registered and transferred somewhere to the DoD. Apparently, you were meddling with intelligence affairs. This is the only explanation for the secrecy and restricted access of the fingerprints. You leave the white laboratory, take the elevator to the underground parking lot, and get in the car. You don't know if you want to chase after this to try to find out more about the mysterious directive. You can always try another method to get the data. The military, Antares, and the police systems are all connected. Maybe a skilled specialist can bypass the blockade. Or it could possibly rub someone the wrong way. We now have Follow the Directives 101 at HQ.
Which we can do a different day.
What's that?
Oh yeah. That's a good point. We can do it on a different day.
Yeah.
The next day.
And then our other one was make sure that's all the traces. So 126B at the cost of our technology. There we go. So sadly, that 107 was a little bit of a bust.
Could potentially lead to more, depending on
Yeah, how far
How
we
far we
follow
wanna-
that rabbit
yeah.
hole. You download the report on the laptop and forward it to Antares. You're about to leave the lab when you suddenly think of something. So we may have gone to our car and then back into the lab. We had an existential crisis. You return to the delivery room, enter the signatures of the cigar box again, then enter the menu with the scope of research and choose soil, seeds, and others. Wonder what they'll make out from these seeds. High priority again. You wait. A few minutes later, you get the results. Evidence. Seeds in a soil sample taken from the cigar box. Seeds of Florida tassel flower occurring in the natural state only in Louisiana, Texas, California, and Hawaii.
Sorry, where were the flower seeds from?
So the seeds came out of the cigar box.
No, but native. Where are they native to?
Oh, Louisiana, Texas, California, and Hawaii. And LTTA 7, add match. Oh, we got that in. This up. So I do think.
We could,
oh, go ahead.
to something else. So we could potentially link one of those locations to something we uncover later.
Yeah.
You
Was
got
the
it, dude. What's up?
matched with anything? It was blocked by the card. Were the seeds matched with anything?
Let me check here. No. I have no match on it.
Okay.
Good question though. Alright, I think we take it over to day 2. We don't have any freebies to do right now.
Okie doke.
So we go back to headquarters. We drop to 8 a.m. We now move to day 2 of 4. And there we go.
Right, so we've got a couple of things we can look at headquarters while we're here.
Correct. We've got the dig into that one issue a little bit more. The directive. We had, let's see, what did 113 get us again? And then because so 120 I know was the lawyers. 101 is the directive. The 115 was what did one the Bloodholts. And then 113 is the only one that I'm not positive on. I want to say maybe it has something on Horatio. Oh, it was the historical.
Ah, okay.
Maybe.
So yeah, as we're at the headquarters, which ones are the freebies? I think we should check out those first since we're already at.
Sorry, 113's Dawson's personal files from Office Military Personnel Files.
Okay.
So nothing we do is considered a freebie here.
Oh,
it will
okay.
it will cost us time no matter which one we pick. It just we don't have to add travel time if we go anywhere else.
Gotcha.
Well, if we go anywhere else, it'll cost us an hour. If we stay at headquarters, we can do the headquarters stuff without adding that 1 hour.
Yeah. So we got the historical thing. We've got
Yes.
the digging deeper on who's blocked the military.
Yep, on the 101 here in the headquarters.
Yeah, and we've got. There was a third one, wasn't there?
There's 4, it looks like. The other one's the
four.
lawyers.
Yep,
And then
there's.
you've got 113, which was it
Uh,
Horatio's file?
yeah, Horatio's file is 113 at the headquarters. And then the
He's from
115 was the historic dude.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Horatio's from Texas, and that's where the flower seeds also come from.
So I would almost assume that cigar case came from Horatio.
So did they? Well, I don't know if he was buried in Texas though. Or did they dig up his body and get this? I don't know.
Place of death, Richmond.
Yeah. And the tangled webs get webbier and tanglier.
Do we know where we are? Are we in Virginia?
Yeah, we're near Richmond.
Oh, so about Horatio, we know he died on the 14th of June 1967.
Yep.
So but he was arrested a couple months before that on April the 12th in 1967 so for an assault on the retired Colonel Samuel J. Brown.
Yep. And then released to the charges being dropped. He was the retired vet who had the clerical error. So apparently died 85, even though it said 1992. So something is really weird about that one.
Yeah, this guy is like bringing up a lot of
red flags.
Yeah.
But we also have no more leads on him.
Yeah.
No.
But why did he assault him? And then those charges were dropped.
So we could get we could grab the Horatio file while we're right here in HQ, because we might be able to get more about the attack on Samuel.
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
Anyone else?
Sure. That sounds good.
All right.
Worth a shot.
All right, let's see what hell I brought. All right, A sides, properties, 113. And I'll tell you before I bring it up, it has cost us 2 hours.
Okay, not too bad.
Wix, my dear friend, you want to read this one?
Sure. The computer on the desk behind you looks for connections between Dawson, Horatio, World War II, and Europe. Veterans' diaries, interviews, memories, photos, archives, anything that will allow you to get more information about this man. Someone somewhere had to write something about him. Someone somewhere must remember him. In a letter from the war or an interview somewhere for sure. On the monitor, subsequent documents flash, download, get analyzed, and rejected. The computer on the right analyzes information about military tattoos in the expression 7 steps to hell. The images flash one by one on the monitor. It took you a few minutes to set up filters that would discard the results with prison tattoos. Without those filters, it would take weeks to sort through them. While these two behemoths are running down the information superhighway, dragging information through the fiber optic, you are battling the forms from the National Personnel Records Center in St. Louis, trying to file an application for Dawson's military files. Finally, you give up. Pick up the phone and make a call. A nice lady promises to take care of it personally. 10 minutes later, you receive your answer by email. We regret to inform you that the files of Mr. Dawson belong to a group of documents destroyed in a fire on July 12, 1973. All that is left is the following data: a catalog card from the inventory sheet regarding the conduct of the service. We do not have any information, although it can be concluded from the number of distinctions that it was exemplary.
And the free backside that we get of this one.
Sorry, when was the files burned down?
July 12th of 73.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was a sergeant. He served from 43 to 45. 7th Army, 6th Infantry.
That's it.
Purple Heart.
Oh.
Comments the Husky operation and the Undertone operation.
Off to Google.
And we get an authority token.
Yay!
Yay! Something positive. We do also have a potential further lead in this: the Virginia Veterans Cemetery.
I don't know what we would dig up from there. Or
I may know whom we may dig up. No, I'm kidding.
So sorry, what was his missions there? There was the
there was Husky operation. Oh,
Sorry,
An undertone.
Husky and Undertone.
Husky operation is the Allied invasion of Sicily.
and then what you got on Undertone?
Undertone, large assault by the U.S. 7th and French 1st Armies as part of the Allied invasion of Germany in March of 45.
Okay.
Both have Wikipedia articles.
Mm.
Curious and curious. Well. Oh, sorry, I can leave that last one up here. What should be the play? Because now, because we still haven't talked to the auction house, which they may have an expert on the watch.
Mm. Yeah,
Oh,
sorry
is that
guys.
one of our-
That was a little bit of a dead end.
No, that's okay.
Is that one of our field work?
Yep, that's one of the field works. Because otherwise, at HQ we can dig deeper into trying to find out the roadblock. We've got the lawyers. We've got the history consultant, which may not be a bad idea either.
Just a question.
Yeah.
So, one of us has to go to the funeral, not all of us,
We end up going as a team.
as a team.
Yeah.
Can we investigate the follow-up from that card, since we are going to a funeral? And we wouldn't have to maybe spend...
So we would technically, we may end up at field work. Let me see where does that drop us? If we go to the funeral, so we have the option to go or not on the third day at 8 a.m. We would start at Richmond PD. And then we read that 134, but that 134 is only available on that day. In time.
Right. So we don't go to the
No, we don't go field work. It drops us at the PD.
Well, and it may not even be at that same cemetery.
Yeah, true.
True. But so say
I just thought they might do that.
you never know. And say we're at field work, even though it's one would be at a cemetery, one would be elsewhere. We don't have to spend the extra hour. But each of the cards are gonna have their own time on them.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So it's right now my thought would either be maybe talk to that historical consultant while we're here, or jump over to field work and go and talk to the auction house in case they were able to dig up anything on the watch.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the staying at HQ, although I don't know if the historical guy is going to waffle and cause us like to be there for 4 hours or something. You know what I mean?
You're not wrong.
It's a real problem.
Yeah.
So stay or field work. So historical or field work. That's the question I throw out to the group.
And if and we can always check out the historic tomorrow, can't we? Because we'll be starting back at headquarters.
Unless we go to the funeral, because that's day 3.
Oh yeah, true.
We could potentially grab it day 4, but day 4 is our last day.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, I gotcha.
All this effort to find out why the hell a watch came from Poland to here.
Yes.
So seeing that we can headquarters later on, because so the stuff that we still have here, I don't think is going to help us a ton. Minus maybe the historical information that might be able to help us a little bit, but I honestly think maybe the auction house might give us a little bit better info if they looked into it.
Yeah, they might.
Yeah.
There might be something that we've a good lead.
And I'm assuming if they're trying to sell it, they want to dig up their own information.
Yeah. To try to get the most value out of it as possible.
Yeah, because they like to. It sells better if it has a story behind it, so they would. Yeah.
All right, so we'll go field work. That was 119. I think that was 119. I'll find out. Yep, this is the auction house. And how much? 3 hours. All right, so let's get that before we dig into it. 1, 2, and 3.
Plus an hour.
Moving both. Oh well.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't cover anything too drastic. Hey Brambles, you want to read this one? If you're able to.
I'm on it. I am able to read it. The auction house is relatively close. Although the radio has announced that all of Richmond is completely congested, we managed to avoid the traffic jams. The office is located in an old building. Once there, we find an elderly couple. They've been married for 50 years and in the same business the whole time. Mrs. Ying offers you cookies while Mr. Ying pours everyone a shot of brandy. Drinking on the job, okay. They both came here from China as kids and earned everything they have on their own. Mr. Ying testifies they've offered Owens much more for the watch, provided that he would give them some time to get an expert opinion, which is what I was hoping for, and find funds. Seller was not interested. He wanted money right away, in cash. They gave him everything they had on hand. They notified the police themselves when they discovered what they came across.
So the option we have is at the cost of our questioning token to press them further. So they didn't have time to do anything because he was trying to get money ASAP.
Damn it.
Yeah. Do we dare?
I feel like if we don't press them further, this was almost a wasted trip.
Yeah.
Well, we did learn that he was in a big ass hurry to sell it.
Yeah, he just wanted to get rid of it, even at the cost of more money.
Yeah. Well, and especially too, we found out from the lab that it had a value of 25 grand. And he sold it for 5. So we did at least get that out of it.
Yeah.
We could try to press him further at the cost of a token. Try to get something out of those 3 hours.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of don't have a
choice.
Yeah, because it's just like, I don't know how everyone else feels. If that's, does everyone else feel the same?
I'm torn.
All right, I'm doing it.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I don't know if they'll give us anything, but at this point, I don't know what you do.
Yeah. They've been running this business for so many years that they have to know something. They just bought a precious gold watch from a street bum, and only after they got scared did they report it. Didn't it seem suspicious from the start? You point out to them that their story has some holes. They wanted easy money, and they started thinking post factum. After a while, Mr. Ying admits that's exactly how it was and regrets his decision on the purchase. From the beginning, he suspected that Owens had stolen the watch. In his defense, Ying says someone from the local press visited them, sniffing around the story. Probably some journalist that got tipped off by someone from the precinct that they reported the case. But for the sake of the investigation, Ying did not want to talk to him. Delaware was right. In the end, the case will come to light. but you still have to be careful about who knows what. You make them promise that they will not speak to the press, so that at least one way for the scandal to leak is prevented. Well, shit.
So it's press-worthy story.
Yeah, apparently. Oh, and that takes 119 off the board. And for once, we don't add to our massive list of leads.
Which I'm not sure if that's a good thing.
Yeah, I know.
Mm,
I'm kind of with you on that.
sorry, I really thought they were gonna.
I know. I feel bad for jumping on that one, and we didn't get a ton. Besides confirming what we already knew.
And we know the press is snooping around.
Yeah,
That is something
that's-
that we did learn.
Mm,
So we've only got one thing left in field work, which is the go to the cemetery, or we would have to spend the hour to go somewhere else.
What we could uncover there.
Because yeah, we're gonna be at. Oh, sorry. Yeah, because we're at the PD tomorrow. We have nothing at the courthouse, nothing at the lab. We just have the one other field work that we could just try to knock out while we're here. The rest of the HQ stuff while we're there on the 4th day. That's my random bits of thought, but this last one kind of bit my last bit of thought bit us in the butt. So
yeah, and again, I feel like if we go somewhere else, it's gonna add an hour plus whatever hours it's gonna take to investigate, and it's like, well, as we're here, the field work didn't go anywhere. We just are spending the hours investigating,
And that gives us a potential for 3 hours without taking any stress.
Yeah.
So hit the field
So,
work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Also, I haven't mentioned thank you guys for playing this with me. I know it's a little weird,
No, it's fine.
but
That's fine.
It's interesting.
right.
I want to know how this ends.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's super strange, but you start kind of getting wrapped into it. And the weirdest thing of this is you start forgetting that you're supposed to be looking for a watch.
Yeah,
To
turn into something else.
let's see.
Definitely.
Hey, good news, 2 hours. We still
Okay.
have a spare hour left. If we want to grab an authority token later, we can.
Not a bad idea.
Rhodey, you haven't read in a bit. Are you able to read this one?
So where do I look it up?
Oh, so
where do
you would be looking at my screen in the Discord.
Yeah, it's slightly. Oh, there we go. Right, the military portion of the cemetery is clearly well cared for. The grass is being regularly trimmed, and in the central point of the quarter stands a tall white flagpole with a billowing American flag. On the freshly cut grass, you can clearly see wheel tracks, those like those of a garden cart or a wheelchair. Dawson's grave is decorated with a wreath that is slightly wilted, certainly from the anniversary of his death. A candle is burning next to it. On the gravestone, in addition to the usual dates, there is a strange inscription. This is my last distinction, then we will be together. In the cemetery office, you learn that Dawson's grave is anonymously paid for once a year via bank transfer. You can try to track it back, but it will take some time.
So we could spend a perception token to check the surveillance footage. Then there is the further lead, tracking the source of the payment for Horatio Dawson's grave. Costs 2 authority tokens. So, and the rest of it is to say to add plot card 112 to the 4th case. If we were to continue, so there's a big overarching story going on. So that would be, if we spend 2, we would actually be throwing a card into the 4th case. We're currently working on case 1.
So they're all connected.
They are all connected at the end. But do we want to check the surveillance footage? Because right now we don't have enough time to run anywhere else. So we could try to milk the most out of this, but we would be running ourselves out of perception. And pretty much every other token. We
can, after this, gain an authority if we want.
True. And we could also, so we could use roadies to convert a research to something else.
Yeah. Okay.
We could also use mine to get us another wild. So we can get some tokens back.
I'm happy to check the surveillance. I'm curious, as it says there's a wheelchair and also like an inscription. So I'm wondering, and someone's paying for this.
Yeah.
The only character I think we've had in a wheelchair so far was Delaware.
Yeah.
Who gave it? Yeah.
Let's see. 131B.
I hope Delaware's not in on this.
Dun dun dun. You go to the cemetery office. It is a low white building with several windows containing flower pots on the sills. In front of the building, there's an information board with a lot of notes. You eye it for a moment. Nothing interesting, just announcements about grave care, flower delivery, and candles. Hey, Wix is here.
It's me.
The building is quiet, has a stone floor, and is pleasantly cool. In the room with the tag management, there's a young man, no more than 25 years old. Maybe that's why you had no issue getting access to the cameras that monitor the cemetery. You can see that the kid is very excited about your case. The surveillance footage is recorded on a monthly basis and stored on a server. Interestingly, the record of Dawson's death anniversary is damaged. Ineptly, as if someone wanted it to look like a glitch. When someone has watched as many surveillance videos as you have, you won't be fooled so easily. Further cracking the computer security of the cemetery office is a piece of cake for any hacker. Except for the investigators and cemetery staff, no one seemed to have visited the grave within the last month. Unfortunately, the monitoring cameras do not cover the surrounding trees. Yeah. Well, shapoopy.
Well,
if I might at least make a recommendation for our last hour, we'll do this to write a report to grab us an authority token.
Okay.
And then have Rhodey's power to drop an authority token, convert the research into a wild. Just so, and then that way she'll have her power back for tomorrow.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, right.
I agree with that.
So we'll drop research by 1, or the authority by 1, drop the research by 1, and gain a wild.
Which if we needed to, we could even still use for research.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It just opens it up for everywhere else because we're blank on everything else. And then I was thinking maybe drop the authority by 2 and add 1 more wild.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I support this. I feel like those tokens have been the most useful thing so far.
Yeah.
Do we ever need authority by itself? Like you have to have a set number of authority to do X thing?
Remember on the front of this A card here? That said spend 2 authority from the token pool to add that plot to the 4th case.
Oh.
Gotcha.
So there are things that could require them. But those tokens tend to get used more than those. Well, I do believe we probably don't want to that was 131. I'm assuming we probably don't want to go too heavy on distress on day 2 and try to knock anything else out.
Probably not. At this point, because anything we do is going to dig into the stress and Is it 1 stress per hour?
It's 1 stress per hour over the where we're currently at. So it'd be like, so travel time would be 1. I would say probably drop us to day 3.
I mean, we're heading to Richmond PD anyway, and we've got 3 things that we can look at while we're in Richmond. Am I right?
Day 3.
Yeah.
Up. So, and we do have the choice if we want to attend the funeral or not.
2, because there's actually 105. It looks like it's listed twice.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it?
Well spotted.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know if that was, we meant to put something else in the 105. Yeah, I don't remember.
It's 134. And actually, it might just be 105 may have popped up from somewhere else as well.
Yeah, that's what I think it was.
Okay. So hey, we only got the 2 things going on there. But so on the start of day 3, do we wish to go to that funeral? Because that's what starts us at the PD and what gets us to look at that 134 card.
So if we don't start at the PD, then we start at HQ, right?
We start at HQ and we lose access to 134.
I think we start at we go to the funeral, since we can always do the other headquarters stuff on like the last day of day 4.
Yeah. So let's go PD and do the 134
and 105.
Okay. So
if everyone is okay with that reasoning.
Yeah.
Fair. And I don't know what kind of I don't know if there's negative repercussions if we don't attend the funeral.
That was my fear.
That's a really good point. So let's take a look at 134. This is 2 hours. Shortest funeral I've ever been to. Hey Wix, you want to read this one?
Sure. You arrive at Richmond PD. In the parking lot, there are over 20 policemen and women wearing formal uniforms with umbrellas in their hands. In the next few minutes, even more cars arrive until finally everyone gets into the cars and the procession heads to the cemetery. The grim weather and the nasty drizzle are a fitting backdrop to the ceremony. You park at a distance and stand in the back, watching in solemn silence. After it's finished, you talk to several policemen, jumping from topic to topic. The investigation of Slater's hit and run has slumped. The late Slater's wife is a tough woman. After all, she's been the wife of a police investigator all of her life. Slater was retired for 30 years, but he often stopped by the precinct. In the end, the weather forces everyone to flee back to their cars. If you want to talk about his old investigations and cases, come to the station, says your old pal Tarkovsky. It's dry there. We have donuts and coffee. And a few of Slater's old friends will also be there.
So we have moved to field work automatically. Is what that IT marker.
God damn it, I was hoping we get to 105 as well.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
That sucked.
So, we could spend a wild to talk to the widow. And then we also have a visit to the police station. Which is now the further lead at PD. So, the good news, we got 2 things left at PD.
Okay.
So, do we wish to talk to the widow?
So he was killed in a hit and run?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the question is, we don't have any reason to believe that it's related to our case, do we?
Not so far.
Yeah. So, police station we go?
Just 1 second. I just wanted to check something.
Because so the
okay. I wanted to see if someone who we looked at previously.
anything with
was killed
Slater.
Yeah, well, no, that was killed in a hit and run, but the one person died in a car was a car accident. It wasn't a hit and run because I thought it was like similar MO or something, but no. But yeah, what's the full name of the police officer? Slater? Is it?
It is Michael, Michael.
Oops.
Which we didn't have the @ symbol for him in the database, so we're not technically allowed to look him up in the database.
Gotcha.
Yep, sorry about that. I just didn't know if you were writing that for your notes.
Oh, that's right. Limited knee mobility due to a structural injury in the line of duty. Child police officer from the homicide department in the rank of sergeant, assigned to the 6th precinct in Richmond PD, was a consultant during the assembly of the Lanteras team. And his wife, witness in a homicide case.
Yeah.
Case filed.
So that's so as I said, we didn't have the @ symbol in front of him, so it means we're not supposed to look him up in the database.
Oh, we're not allowed to look him up.
No.
Oh. But you have his last name. Maybe that was enough.
Yeah, I get you on that. I should have clarified. That's on me.
Okay.
I'm going to check. No, okay. I was just. I'm seeing if there was anywhere that we had an @ symbol on that, but I'm afraid we don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. Do we talk with the widow? Do we go to the PD?
At this point, we don't have anything linking her to the case.
Currently, no. We need to pretty much ignore what Rhodey told us.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, we don't have a reason.
I think that links to a case later on, anyway.
Right. Okay.
So, as I said, do we talk to her? Do we try to check out the stuff at the PD? How we feel?
So we have 2 at the PD. One of which we're not entirely sure if it will be even linked to us. 'Cause it's about his investigations, but could turn up something. I don't know. It's a hard call. But we also have the other one, which I don't remember what it is.
Yeah.
That 105.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it. Because I want to say we got it off.
Not the historical one.
No,
That's at the headquarters.
Yeah.
I believe.
So I want to say we got 105 off of one of the personnel files.
Because the consultant is the HQ 115.
So, the incident data on the robbery.
Okay.
Which, remember, our Horatio died during the robbery.
Oh, right.
And right now, so we have a little bit of proof of Horatio having the box that had the watch in it.
Yeah.
We don't.
So maybe somebody tried to rob him to get the watch.
So it might have been the father that was with where is personnel files? Was it Rupert? No, Marcus, his father. Because these two, I believed. Yeah, so these two suspected being an accomplice to a robbery.
Right, got you.
So we have the connection between the two. I don't know if Marcus stole from him or what happened. That's a bit of the piece we're missing between the two. We also know he was stabbed in prison.
And the case file of Horatio's robbery is the same case file
the
that Marcus
105.
Owens is suspected.
Yep, so that's why 105 went in twice.
Right.
Yeah.
So that might be a good thing to check
worth
out.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go. So spend the hour, go to the PD.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
So
I think that's valuable.
So we'll leave the widow alone. We could always use Bramble's power to come back to that.
Okay.
It's just a little more spendy. All right, we are moving to the Richmond PD, which so it's going to cost us an hour to do so. We now move to the PD using a fancy dandy, not clip art, artist rendition of everything going on in this game. And then so we wanted to look up the file of the robbery. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Because that other 109 was
109, I believe.
yeah, well, 105, because 109 was
that's right.
just straight up a visit to the police station.
Yeah, Slater's old cases and things like that.
Oh, right.
I don't know, may help in a later one, but
Yeah. So we'll do 105. And also, generally, us working with the local PD is not a terrible thing either. So like when we took that the report action is a report that we gave to the police department, which gave us the authority token. Like, look at these fancy Antares working with us. So that's
So we're not directly affiliated with them.
no, we are technically separate entities trying to be somewhat cordial. But hey, we got 105. Who would like to read this one?
I can do it.
Yeah.
All right, the rain starts to annoy us, but what irks us even more is that some stickler did not want to mail the scans, so we had to go down to get them personally. We reached the precinct, entering the official entrance on the other side of the lobby, away from the hustle and bustle of detainees. We passed the investigation room on the right, turning next to the locker room and showers, and reached the archive located at the end of the corridor. We flash our badges, fill out request form, turn it in, then sit in an old metal chair to wait. All of us sitting in one old metal chair. This part of the police station is quiet and peaceful. After a while, Susie's worried face appears in the window. Someone must have misplaced them, of course. Please wait a moment, we're looking for them. We spend the next several minutes savoring the legendary Richmond PD vending machine coffee, known as the worst sludge. You know that if Susie is on the case, she will go the extra mile to find what we need. And we're not mistaken. In the end, they find it. We have in our hands the printed out scans of the full contents of the 67 folder.
So now you can look up the file 105, and then we can add a authority to the token pool.
Nice.
We can also compare the scans with the original at the cost of a research. Let's go files. To 105. Look under the insert of your detective game box. There you'll find a couple of additional handouts. Please open and read only the one titled File 1. It should include a case file and an attachment with plans of the building. Now, you may be concerned that I may have forgot this step. I didn't.
Oh God. Yay!
Nice job, Tom.
Thank
I'd be
you.
concerned. Not so.
And
Behold, report.
I love board games that do this, where like there's stuff hidden under inserts. Because like pulling that out and seeing like they're actually in like proper looking envelopes, like it's really cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. Sergeant Michael Slater, Richmond Police Homicide Department. So he was the investigating officer on this.
Interesting.
Suspects: Henry Giles, minor pickpocket; Marcus Owens, pawn shop owner; and the victim, Horatio Dawson, florist and flower shop owner.
Ooh. Okay. Those
Seeds would
flowers.
chaos.
Or with the seeds.
Yeah.
Chaos seeds.
Yeah, we're starting to plant the seeds of figuring this out. I'm
Ooh.
so sorry. I'm a monster.
So, what's the pickpocket's name?
Oh, the pickpocket is Henry Giles. We don't have an at him yet,
Oh.
so stop looking him up.
Oh.
Stop typing.
Stop it. Stop it. I appreciate the gumption though. Incident description: on June 14th, 1967 at 8:11, a police patrol arrived at Horatio Dawson's home at 147 Chillingham Road in Richmond on a disorderly conduct call. The policeman approached the porch and noticed the door to the house was open. There was no response to the policeman's calls, so they entered the premises. Upon entering, at the foot of the stairs, they found the body of a tall, well-built man, who is later identified to be Horatio Dawson. The body laid face down with both legs remaining partially on the stairs. The policeman confirmed lack of vitals. Backup units and an ambulance were called at 8:19. The coroner confirmed death. Physical evidence available at the Richmond PD Evidential Magazine. Description of the crime scene. See annex graph of the first and second floor layout, which I'll bring that up here in a bit. Both the residential property and the attached flower shop had signs of burglary. The glazed glass door in the kitchen leading to the garden was open, and the glass just above the lock was broken. The kitchen cabinets and drawers were open, and some of the dishes were thrown on the floor. In the living room, there were broken vases, books from the shelves scattered on the floor, and open cabinet doors. The door to the flower shop was found open, with pots shattered on the floor and boxes torn open.
They were definitely looking for something.
Good.
I'm assuming the watch.
Good deductive reasoning, my friend. Browse page 2. In the office, papers were scattered across the floor. A broken drinking glass was found under the drawers on the side wall. No fingerprint traces were secured. The grass was wiped. Wow, they wiped the grass. The glass was wiped. A red ceramic pot containing a Florida tassel flower was broken. And dirt was scattered under the window. A footprint, shoe size 11, was found in the dirt. We can look up the guys that we had in the personnel files for shoe sizes if they have them.
Rupert Owen, his shoe size is 8.5.
So Rupert's is 8.5, so that's too small for 11.
Yeah.
The desk was moved approximately 12 inches towards the back wall, and parallel scratches were found in the wooden floor. The front edge of the desk had been dented. Traces of type A blood were discovered despite an attempt by the perpetrator to wipe them clean. On the desk, there was a typewriter with a piece of paper loaded, a green desk lamp, and 3 pencils. The top of the desk had been wiped. No traces were secured. The opened desk drawers contained old 9x19 millimeter parabellum cartridges. A 3 1/3 pound brass ashtray was found on the desk, and small traces of tobacco were scattered on the floor. The safe in the office was open with the combination lock in the open position. The safe contained insurance papers and bank statements. The statements revealed that Dawson withdrew his full account balance on the eve of his death. He cashed out a total of $16,452. The money was not found. A footprint was found on the office door frame 5.5 inches above the floor, and type A blood traces were found on the corridor floor 19.6 inches from the entrance door frame. Blood trailed the railing of the stairs. A piece of the rail was broken off at a 10-degree angle on the west side of the stairs. Blood traces were found on the 6th, 10th, and 12th step. The traces were type A blood. And then we have some evidence signatures we need to type in.
Can I?
Yeah.
Can I?
Yeah.
So Horatio's shoe size is 11.5,
So
and he has blood type A RH plus. So type A.
Marcus does not have type A. He has type O, and his shoe size is 9.
So Marcus's blood?
0. Type 0.
Okay. And
Sorry,
I'm just...
I got mixed between Rupert and Marcus. Yeah, so that's right, sorry.
And we don't have any info on the other guy yet.
Not yet. And I'm just typing in the stuff going on here. 97 ANYU52 for the evidence signatures. Okay, we have a hit on something. At some point, the cigar box was stored in Horatio Dawson's house. Proves connection between Dawson and the cigar box. So, yay, we have connection.
Yay.
Is that the one that I just typed in? That was the AY. Yeah, I did that one. 86RTEYNLTTA4.
Oh no.
Oh no.
So possibly.
We got some more matching too. Cigar box contains traces of a plant found in Texas, where Horatio Dawson came from. He probably stored the box in the plant pot for a long time, even before he opened his flower shop. So this was a hidden box. 3, 4, 5, 6 BHI8 2 victims' fingerprints found all over the place. Curiouser, my friends. Page 3. Murder suspect, Henry Giles. Henry Giles was allegedly a witness to the victim's attempt to sell valuables at a pawn shop. He and his partner, Marcus Owens, made the decision to break into Dawson's home. Giles allegedly tracked the victim to his home. On the evening of June 14th, 1967, Giles parked a car on Rosamond Street. He broke into Dawson's home from the garden, leaving a footprint in the dirt. Shoe size 11. The course of events is alleged as follows. Giles held Dawson at gunpoint. The weapon was found on the suspect the next day. Giles forced the victim to open the safe. There was a struggling, followed by screams. Giles pushed the victim down the stairs. He then searched the house chaotically. The perpetrator likely heard the passing patrol, ran out of the house through the back exit along with a bag of stolen items and drove off. Suspect Henry Giles was shot dead during the attempted arrest on the following day. In the car, a green Chevrolet sedan. There were the day's sales from a flower shop, a .38 caliber revolver, and an old .08 Parabellum pistol. All items were collected during the police investigation. And then the accomplice, Owens. Testimony reveals that on June 14th, Horatio Dawson visited the pawn shop with the intention of selling a variety of jewelry. Owens bought some of the items from the victim for a total of $487. Owens, working as Giles' silent partner, informed Giles that Dawson had more valuables. However, he denied being involved in the robbery. Testimony of Marcus's ex-wife, Lily Garrett, confirmed the suspect alibi. So now we can look up Michael Slater. Alright. MIC. Oh no, I spelled that wrong. I'm a monster.
Out there.
HAL Slater.
He does have shoe size 11 as well.
He does.
Interesting.
Limited knee mobility due to a screwdriver injury in the line of duty.
Ouch.
Yeah. One hard, stiff drink.
Right. I would like some vodka and orange juice. How would you like it, sir? Right to my knee. Christine Slater, the wife. Yeah, witness in a homicide case. That's all we know. Curiouser and curiouser. We already have Horatio Dawson. We now need, Henry Giles. Now Rhodey can look this one up.
Oh, he's blood type A as well.
Yeah. And he has a burn scar on his cheek. So this is the guy.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the one that the guy was the younger one who sold the watch was talking about, who was friends with the dad.
Yeah, and he has she says.
So I wonder if he came over to that one night and was talking about it.
Yeah.
Interesting. And he's the one with blood type A. Because then
he and Horatio both have blood type A.
interesting. Curiouser. There is evidence related to the case for a further lead, which is at 106 at the PD. There is Horatio Dawson autopsy report at the PD. We can consult a forensic psychologist at the courthouse. And we can go visit Horatio Dawson's grave, which we have already done. And then the last one, oh, I need to save that. You guys don't see that one yet, but you will. Because I was just typing in our leads. Oh, and here is the layout. So yeah, storefront attached to the property. He was found on the stairs that led straight to that office upstairs. The garden out the back for the exit.
So it seems pretty clear that Giles robbed Horatio. So that's where he got the watch.
Yeah.
So now we need to figure out where Horatio got the watch.
Yeah, because we know he's military, and he was stationed over that side of the world at the right time, but we don't know any more than that.
Yeah, he wasn't stationed in Poland. His inventory wasn't. It was Germany and.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Oh, okay.
But that just means that it was something happened where he was stationed, or one of his, because remember there was like an altercation or something with it might have been his commander.
The Samuel Brown.
Oh, Samuel Brown. Yeah.
Yeah, there was
yeah, because the charges were dropped against him.
Yeah.
In that altercation between the two.
That was just a couple months before. That was in April, and he was robbed in June.
We don't exactly know why he took his entire life savings out suddenly before he was robbed either. The Horatio, Giles and Marcus, the one owned the pawn shop, so he knew the dude had more valuables, and that's what they were looking for. They stumbled across the money. So
Horatio seems to have been up to something.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do have a press details or a dig deeper on this the 105. We can compare the scans with the original at the cost of one of our research.
We've still got two wild cards. We have two authority, so we can
generate a new one.
Yeah, and we have one research in the pool, so we've got.
I'd say let's do
5.
it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Get all the info we can.
Yeah.
And that since it's on this same card, it won't take more time.
It should not.
And I don't remember if did you already add the
3
authority
hours
token?
Yep. So that's how we have the 2 authority tokens, because we were down to 1. Sadly, we're all the way up to 2 o'clock on the 3rd day.
Right.
This day ate a lot of time real fast.
Which is sad, because now we have a few more at the police station.
But we have we do have, 6 stress tokens left?
Yep.
Right.
So, and we've only used 1.
So I would recommend on the last day is where we can use that, so we don't suddenly lose the last day.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah, because on the last day we can go into overtime up to our stress. So we'll.
Okay.
So it is kind of good to save it towards the end if you can help it.
Okay.
Anyone want to read 105B here?
I can do that. Apart from Susie, there are several other people working in the archives whom you don't trust. You don't want to have to come back here in an hour because there was something missing from the file. You take the scan out of your briefcase and decide to compare it to the original documents. You flash your badge at the archive employee and ask him to show you the contents of the original folder so you can be sure that you have a complete scan. The guy is grumpy, but you have experience. Old papers, archives, and evidence magazines are your domain. You share some stories from the archives in Missouri, where you had your training years ago, and the atmosphere lightens. The employee waves his hand and lets you inside. He points to the right bookshelf and says you can rummage through them freely. He leaves, wishing you good luck. That's exactly what you wanted. You go to the bookshelf and rifle through the box with the 67 files. You see that sandwiched between the notes is a small, crumpled piece of paper. It must have fallen out of one of the files. Yes, you know it looks like a stroke of luck, but why not? Sometimes these things just happen. There's information on the note signed with the name Slater. In the investigation, the fingerprints of Henrietta Marcos and her 2 children were omitted. Henrietta was a neighbor and housekeeper. The prints of her and her children, mainly her son Andrew, were practically all over the house. Apart from that, the scans match the original.
So if we have any partial fingerprints on anything, that might be
So the cigar box, didn't it say it had like the partial fingerprint on there or something?
Let me grab this here. So the fingerprint traces found in Horatio's house were missing, I believe, 1 on this, and it might be the kid.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
One thing I'm a little curious on with the fingerprints, is it everyone we enter into the database, we automatically get their fingerprints or no?
Only so like all that evidence that we popped up, if it's got a code on it, then we just punch in the code.
I don't know when it goes to auto matching, is it just anyone that we've looked up at all?
As long as they're within the database. Like we've got Henry Files here, so we have his here, so we can potentially match him to other stuff.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. Luckily it does the matching automatically.
Yeah, which is really nice.
Yeah, like we're still missing like the ashtray and other fingerprints. There's stuff there is stuff we're missing.
Yes, that's what I was looking at. It's just how much is missing.
Yeah. So we have we picked up a lot of info on this 105. So yay team.
Yay.
we did something good, but
that felt good. Now we have another rabbit hole to follow.
Yeah. Who don't like rabbit holes? That sounded weirder than I meant.
There was something else on there. So we did 105, but we got 109, 106, and 117 as well.
Yep, because so 2 of the items that we picked up here. Let me get the arrows off. Evidence related to the case was the 106, the Dawson autopsy report, and a forensic psychologist. But I don't know how much that's going to give us.
Yeah, I'm not.
So is there something we can do at the PD? Because we have what, two hours left?
Yeah, you're right. So there was the
109, 106, and 117.
So we have the visit the PD, which is the 109. We've got the 117 for the autopsy report, and the 106 is the evidence related to the case.
Right.
Which the evidence may give us more fingerprints too.
Yeah.
So so evidence maybe.
I say
Yeah.
evidence because I guess autopsy might help, but we're less concerned about how he died and more concerned about
How he got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the evidence.
All right, so we've got 106, I think, right? Yeah, that was
Is it
106.
Walmart?
that's right.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. A card. It is 3 hours. So we are picking up a stress.
Okay.
Hopefully it is worth it.
Did you put your thing down, flip it, and reverse it? You're flipping it and ran yet. Man, I need to see if I got the stress up. Come on. There we go.
There we go.
Hey, Wix, my friend, you want to read this one?
Sure, I'm just writing down what the numbers are.
Bless your heart.
All right. Trying to help out. All right. You passed 3 cops who were talking about some suspect being on the move. Somebody saw him a few blocks from here. They cover their heads with their jackets and run out into the rain. In front of you at the end of the corridor, you see a ruckus in the lobby. A couple of policemen are struggling with a tattooed jock. Turn left past the locker rooms and showers and reach the evidence storage, which shares space with the archives. You fill out the application manually, sign 4 consecutive forms, and hand everything to Susie, who takes the forms and winks at you. You brace yourself for several minutes of waiting. A cup of nasty coffee in hand and a phone in the other, you sit in one of the dozen or so wire chairs which strand along the wall. You have time to read on the internet about military operations during World War II. Finally, they call out your name. The archive employee brings you a dusty cardboard box. Inside, you find a couple of items and torn scraps of typewritten paper secured in a paper envelope labeled "Send to Lab." Over the writing, there's a stamp reading "Examination Cancelled."
Ooh.
Curious. So now we get, and we do have further leads for examined paper shreds and historical consultation. So I got to remember that we can come back to 106 here. And we can also make sure that's all the evidence. Let's get 128 up. Browse 128. A description. Photo found in a shattered frame on the floor next to the desk in Horatio Dawson's office. And we get a free flip on this one. It's so hard to flip cards over. And flip. Photo found in Horatio Dawson's safe. So we have Horatio with a couple of individuals.
Mm.
And then we've got, what was it, 129? Where are you? 129.
That one in the middle, the watch, looks like a younger Samuel Brown.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the one on the right looks like Horatio.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we've got a brass ashtray, weighs approximately, the 3.3 pounds, found on the desk. And then we get the free flip on this one. On the 129B, we also have a pendant, which suspect Marcus Owens bought at his pawn shop from Horatio Dawson. Owens latter gave this to his wife, Lily Owens. Later, Lily Garrett. Curious. And then finally, 135. It is the Owens Pawn Shop, Marcus Owens jewelry, gold watch, and the option to verify authenticity of the bill. So we have, we can make sure that's all the evidence. As a dig deeper at the cost of a wild, we can also verify the authenticity of the bill, which I don't think we do, because we know the sale happened.
Mhm.
I think that's only going to confirm.
The amount of the bill, like, is that
Wait,
doesn't seem relevant.
oh, hold on a second. So, those items come from Horatio Dawson's thing. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Lily was married to Horatio and then married Owens, or was she married to Owens and then Dawson?
No, I think Dawson pawned off the pendant, and then Marcus ended up giving it to his wife.
Yeah, but the photo was found in Horatio's. Yeah, photo found in the shattered frame on the floor next to the desk in Horatio Dawson's office. And then did we have...
But do we know who the photo is?
That's a really good question.
Mhm.
I don't think we do, because yeah, the next photo... Um, 129. Yeah, so the pendant belonged to, I'm assuming from 128, was pawned off, given to Lily.
Yeah, but Lily Owens, later Lily Garrett. And Rupert Owens is her son.
Okay.
Next question, I think, did they divorce or did she remarry?
Yeah, so she remarried. No, because his name's Dawson. Oh, so who did she marry? Well, oh, sorry. I was like, what? I was like, okay, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Complete rabbit hole.
Do we want to spend a token to make sure that's all of the evidence, or are we good without?
So I'm curious about the examination canceled.
Yeah,
Same.
I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Because it seems such a weird thing, especially when someone's been murdered.
Yeah. So spend the token.
Yes.
Done
Sure.
and done. All right. So 106B. Where is... The contents of the box surprised you. The evidence is very poor, even for the time in which it was assembled. You know exactly how the evidence material collected at the crime scene should look. Every clue, every piece of paper, cigarette butt, hair, dozens of the smallest details should be taken into account. Instead, there are 3 measly items thrown into an old cardboard box. What a joke. Should be good to do something about it, but there isn't that much time, and it would require Delaware to let you through both the evidence and archive. That would delay the investigation. The procedural errors in the case of Dawson's murder have little to do with the mystery of the Polish watch. You'll bring it up to Delaware when you return to Antares. You have an impression bordering on certainty that something is not right here. You'll gladly find out what it is. Plot card goes to case 2.
Damn it.
So there's something going on in the PD, but not relevant to our current case.
No, not yet. And then what did we have? So the couple of things that we picked up: historical consultation on evidence material, and then the paper shreds at the lab. Seeing we've got 4 things sitting at HQ, should we jump to headquarters? And
Like the next day?
Yeah, go into the next day so we spawn at headquarters. Or do we tempt the stress now and try to grab one of the last 2 things at the PD?
I think that's your question right there. It's where you tempt fate and stick it out because we're here.
The thing is, it's if we grab the other things, like how much more time, because each hour spent time is going to be more stress. It's not just going to be maybe an hour or something.
Whereas tomorrow we've got a full day.
Yeah, but we don't know.
Overtime if we need to.
True, but
So what was the 2 PD things that was still there?
one of them was on this. There was the autopsy report on the 117. And then 109 was just visit the office, which I don't think is gonna do us diddly squat.
So I don't think either of those are going to help us figure out how Horatio got to watch.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think just jump to the next day then.
Okay, yeah, makes sense to me. I think before we do that, I might eat up the last 2 authority and spawn us a wild.
Okay. Yeah.
Fair.
Alright. Just so the option comes back onto the next day. And crank up the day token, or the day counter. We're back at headquarters. And we're back at 8 a.m. of the final day, my friends.
Oof, snail biting.
I know. Happy riding strike. Because we're so
All in
on
a day's work. We got this.
All right. On day 4, what shall we do, my friends?
So we have 4 things here.
Yep. We have the historical consultant for the Bolt Holt. We've got the lawyer.
The directive, and the historical evidence. What I've got.
I'd say maybe the historical evidence to try to put some stuff together.
Right. That sounds like our best bet, considering we're trying to track it on Horatio right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that was 122.
I think so.
All right.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you. And let's get the time moved 2 hours.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, we've done much worse. Oh, who would like to read this one?
I'm down.
Cool.
All right. Brubenbeck wants to meet directly in the evidence storage. We bump into each other in the corridor.
Uh-huh. What do we want to do in storage? Huh?
With a nod. Finishing the conversation he's having over the phone. Yes, Caddy, I'll be there on time, I remember. Looks at the box that we have under our arm and rubs his hands. Crazy day. I have a lot of meetings. He looks at his watch. We have an hour. Can we take a look at this in the cafeteria? I'll not have time for lunch later. We take the elevator to the first floor and sit at the window table. Brubenbeck orders a salad and a Coke, then starts to inspect. An ashtray made from an artillery shell. Probably belonged to someone associated with the army, which we know is true.
Mm-hmm.
It's authentic. It seems to me like a souvenir from the campaign during the Second World War. Please look at these signs at the bottom. The signatures indicate the ammunitions sent to Europe. What else? These photos do not tell me much, and he pauses in the middle of the sentence. Oh, that is interesting. Picks up the gold pendant and starts examining it from all sides, pulls out his phone and checks something. This is a medal commemorating the Sacrament of Baptism. Woolston, 1940, is engraved on the back. During World War II, they displaced Poles and Jews from there.
Add 1 to the token pool. And no dig deeper on this one.
So Wolsztyn is a town of western Poland. Wolsztyn, I have no idea how to pronounce that.
But how did he come in contact with us? Alright. I don't feel like we learned a ton here.
Sadly, no.
Do we maybe grab the historical consult? I don't know if that's gonna help at all, because I wish there was someone we could talk to about the unit that he was a part of.
Right.
Which the only one we have is the Samuel Brown, which would be the only lead we have with Samuel Brown's the 101 bull stuff.
Unless that has something to do with the being blocked by the Department of Defense, but we have no way of knowing.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's going to end up being a rabbit hole for us or not, but it's the logical thing in my head is we need more information on the unit he was involved in.
Yeah.
To try to figure out how he could have came into possession of it. But the only one of potential is Samuel Brown, but we have no way of contacting. So I don't know if the historical consult would help us at all, or trying to push through the firewall that is the block.
I feel that the historic thing is just going to be something quite general and not very specific. So maybe the block might be something interesting, but it might be one of those things that leads to like an overall the overall story.
The big overarching.
Yeah. But I don't mind if you guys want to pursue that, just in case it does bring up something.
Wix, my dear, what you thinking?
I'm really afraid of the directive being a total rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But I really do want to press it. I won't lie. Get fired on the first case. Get thrown out as investigators.
Oh. So.
Because we could find out who's blocking it. Can we look to see where that came from? Which piece of evidence?
So the 101, you mean? That came back from the lab when we were trying to input a signature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we went to put in one, and it automatically fired back out.
Yep. And then we spent
on the watch, right?
I think it was.
It was on the watch and the cigar box. One of those. I think it was the watch specifically.
Okay.
Yeah, I can maybe take a look here. Maybe. It was on one of the partials. Yeah, I might not be getting. So yeah, we know the watch belonged to him at some point.
Because it's the one the mattress.
Oh, here it is. Yeah,
it doesn't tell us what it was on. Okay. Because part of me really wants to know who's blocking us and why.
Yeah. I'm fine if you guys want to pursue that, because I
am afraid it'll be a rabbit hole too.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, 101 it is. We're taking risk on the last day. We're in headquarters.
Here at the HQ, right? Yes, yeah. Awesome.
So I have some good news and I have some bad news.
Oh dear. Okay.
It is 3 hours.
3 hours, and it adds 17 stress. You're all fired. Hate to see it.
Let's get this up. You spend another hour in front of the computer checking all available databases, a cell phone in your hand, a laptop with a dozen open tabs on your desk. Please don't look at what the tabs are. And 2 desktop towers on nearby desk hardwired into the Antares system, crunching data. You made a couple of calls to people higher up. You've spent what? You made a couple of calls to people higher up in the hierarchy and sent out countless emails. All 3 cups of coffee and 2 cigarettes later, you still have nothing. Zilch. You reach an impasse. Procedure 170 something. What does that mean? Suddenly, the cell phone rings. It's Ann Bishop from Delaware's office on the top floor. She says you received a fax from the Military Archive of the Defense Department in St. Louis, which you hurry to retrieve. The fingerprints marked by your department as SD blah 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 are not found in the Department of Defense database. Regards, General Henry Brown. Yes, please fix the glitch causing your system to seek out non-existent files. You come back, toss the fax on your desk, and sit at the computer. You light up another cigarette and read the message one more time. You just can't believe it. We could try to explain the situation using one of our wild tokens.
I mean, we've got 2 of them.
Yep. I kind of want to spend it.
Files that don't exist.
Got a lot of tokens, but not a lot of time.
But we've been blocked.
All right. I'm gonna executive decision this. We're gonna flip this over.
Okay.
Oh no.
Oh.
So you put out the cigarette. You read the document again. Confusion hits you. You know the procedure. No one from the Department of Defense sends out faxes. Even if the data is no longer confidential, who replies by fax in this day and age? General Brown answered in a way that avoided the official servers. Why? What's with the SD? You don't know what's reeking, but you know that stench. It's pure trouble. Add a stress.
And
And
for another case.
case
Ooh.
4, yeah.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Makes
But
me
we
think
kind of...
that later on this is going to get real deep, real tricky.
No kidding. So we essentially have 7 hours left. I apologize for my over curiosity.
Well, no, we were all
We got information for future.
True that.
I mean, it makes us. It gives me a lot of questions, but
Mm.
not that it's going to help us find where this watch came from.
I mean, we know a little bit of basics. We just don't know how Dawson came in contact with it. We have only 2 things left at the HQ available.
The historical evidence, or the historical consult, and
The
Sure.
lawyers. Yeah.
Time to take down the lawyers. I'm kidding.
the lawyers seem
Breaking
like
the
such
law.
a dead end.
Breaking the
Yeah.
law.
Oh,
Breaking the
100%.
law.
Seems completely pointless.
Yeah.
Secretly, the lawyers have all the information.
Yeah, right.
We got the historical thing.
Yeah.
The PD thing there wasn't really much there. So
No.
what's at the courthouse?
So the courthouse was the psychology consultation for the robbery.
What's at the lab?
So, did we get that off the big item?
I think so.
No, that
Grave
wasn't
of
118.
Still works. We did.
Yep. The forensic psychologist was that.
There.
118 came off something else. Oh, it
I
was
feel
one
like
of the.
that had something to do with the evidence.
Yep, you right. So it was either one.
Off of the fingerprints, the 118 is paper shreds
Yes.
from
The
one of the-
robbery.
Oh, the one that they
Yeah.
said cancel the.
Yeah, the search.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which.
And if it was The thing that has me curious is the marked for cancellation, like somebody shut it down.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, granted, it was for a murder case that was fairly open and shut. They know who did it.
Yeah.
True.
And that person also got killed as well the next day. So it was
True.
So maybe this historical consult? I don't None of these leads sound as good as I would like them to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh dear.
I wish we could get more on the military unit,
Yeah.
but we're blocked off of Brown, which doesn't help us out. So I don't know how we're gonna find anything else out.
Oh no. Who would say we're gonna fail this one? Ooh.
On the plus side, there's no technical failure in this game. It's all about the story and the friends we made along the way.
This is what they call experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, even in the rule book of this game, they're like, this is definitely much more about the experience than technical win and loss.
Oh, okay.
They'll give a recap of the mission, and stuff we missed.
Okay.
I blame all of Char Char's misdirection.
Don't you dare blame Char Char.
We've just been staring at how adorable Char Char is.
Exactly.
And it's thrown us off the real clues.
Yeah, he let us down. He let us down.
Exactly. That was my feelings all along.
The greatest consultant.
Well spoken, Char Char.
God.
So here's where I'm leaning a touch. I'm leaning either the lab for the paper scraps. I don't know what we're gonna get out of it. Or the history consult.
That's what I'm thinking, because I was thinking, why would you just shred stuff? You know, you just put it in evidence, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
In the archive, and that's it.
I don't know what we'll get out of the paper shreds.
Yeah.
Where we're probably gonna get a lead off the historical consult, though we're not gonna get time to finish.
Yeah. Okay.
But we're already at the HQ.
Okay. I'm prepared to look at the historical
consult.
Yeah.
Because we know that connects to Bloodholds, and we're trying to kind of piece together how it got from Bloodholds to Horatio.
Yeah. That's the gap we're missing. Let me grab this. Doot. Hey Wix, you want to read this one?
Sure. Reuben Beck arrives out of breath and with a whole portfolio of documents under his arm. He is drenched from head to toe due to the heavy rain, which has been slashing the windows of Antares headquarters from early morning and causing traffic jams throughout the whole city. It was a miracle that he protected the documents from the downpour. He ran from the parking lot holding the briefcase under the umbrella. He asked for a cup of hot coffee and a towel. A soggy coat and a hat land on the chair. He says that you have to hurry because in 2 hours you must return to the university. You prepare 2 coffees. Their cheap aroma spreads over the room and follows you to the top floor. Instead of sitting with the professor in one of the conference rooms or on your floor, you take him to a small, cramped room in the end of the corridor, a secret hiding place known only to a few people from the department. You wink at Reuben Beck. Sorry, Reuben Beck, not Bourbon.
This just
Too
all
early for a
sounds dodgy.
drink.
Where is this going?
No,
Pull
just
out a pack of cigarettes and put an
sounds
ashtray on the
so-
table. Reuben Beck smiles, takes out a small box of tobacco for his pipe. He sips his coffee and begins to talk about Bloodholz's story while he prepares the smoke.
So we get 116 here. If you'd like to continue.
It's not much about blood holes in our files.
Of course not.
He graduated with honors from the Ludwig Maximilian University in Munich in the medical department from 1934. He belonged to the NSDAP. NSDAP. On April 24th of 1942, the Society of the Emperor Frederick in Berlin appointed the Central Research Institute and named him as the director of the institute, a young, ambitious, and very capable member of the Nazi Party, the ideal candidate. A year later, in 1943, he was sent to a German-occupied Posen, where he was employed as the head of the Cancer Statistics Department, a fictional moniker that was supposed to camouflage the basic goal of the institute, advanced research in transplantology. We did not have much information from this period. One can only guess what atrocities were done under the guise of research. The last piece of information we have about him is that he fled south of Austria after the war under the fictitious name of Bachmann. I suspect that he then went to Italy and then just dissolved into thin air like many other criminals who traveled in that direction. The German criminals generally bribed soldiers to guarantee their passage across the border. They paid with stolen pre-war jewelry, gold, and anything else of value. Then they disappeared.
Oh, there you go. That's probably how I came across it.
Interesting.
Because those soldiers that, what was it, the 7 steps?
Yeah.
They were stationed in Italy at one point.
And we could spend our last token to learn more about the Spider organization.
Well, we're here. How much stress do we have?
2, I think?
We have three of 7.
Well, this won't add any more time at least, right?
No, it won't. And this actually gave us a chunk of information we were missing.
Yeah.
So it might not be terrible to... And I mean, I don't know what else we're going to use our token for anyway.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
If you think it's advisable, I'll go with that.
This is the way. With every minute of this tale, it's clearer to you that if this German escaped from Poland and reached the States, you have a serious problem. The case is beginning to take a nasty turn and play out according to the darkest scenario. After all, this watch did not cross the ocean on its own. It'd be really cool if it did. And this organization, Spider, you ask, Spider is an organization founded by Otto Skorinsky. He was hiding the assets of the SS and German industrialists and transferring German criminals through the Vatican to Argentina and Bolivia. One of the routes led through the Brenner Pass on the Italian-Austrian border. Our own Operation Undertone had finished in this region on May 4th, 1945. It was the last step.
So, yeah, I was...
So they at the Brenner Pass.
Yeah, they snuck him out and he paid with the watch.
Yeah. I may have a really weird connection. Hear me out for 2 seconds. Remember how they were talking about the buttholes and the cancer the cancer stuff.
And
And
wasn't he involved in like chemical warfare and stuff?
True, but take a look at what I believe to be the wife of Horatio Dawson.
Oh,
That's a connection.
Not concrete, but something.
And on top of all of this, remember how he suddenly took out a ton of money that was in the safe? What if there was a connection between him and now Buckman Buchanan Man Buttholtz to try to help his wife?
I'd say that's quite a motive.
Thank you for your help, consultant Char Char. You thought of that all on your own.
Yeah. Yeah, Mandy.
Curiouser.
So we have
Some.
max of 4 stress,
So
which means
so we have an hour plus 4. So we have 5 hours to play with. And even if we hit that stress max out, we will receive that last action we took, as well as still get to enter the final report. So
okay.
Sorry, can I? Right. So the Blurtholtz and maybe completely wrong here. So Kurtz Blutholtz and what's his name?
Horatio?
It's Samuel Brown.
Yeah.
They're around about the same age. They have the same blood type.
Holy.
And Samuel Brown has a scar on his right arm. Kurt Splitshole has a tattoo of a spider above his right wrist, but it's not confirmed. But if he was to get rid of that,
it would leave him a scar.
yeah.
And we had a wrong day of death.
Yeah. And his eyes are brown, his hair is brown. Samuel Brown is no, he's got wrong eyes. But it's just, I don't know, it's a bit coincidental. They're around the same age. There's only like,
and we have that really weird the weird death issue too.
Yeah.
Oh, this is.
And we know that he escaped, and we know that he perhaps got into America, and then there was this altercation between Horatio and Samuel Brown. But why would he need to?
Yeah, that's true. And the charges were dropped.
But and you know, unless he was
I mean, unless he did actually kill him in 92. Well, no, Horatio was dead long before. Because Horatio died in 76. In the robbery. And even the original date of death, the 85 and 92 mix-up, doesn't go with either one of those two sides.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know why he bothered Colonel Brown, unless he was, because he was saying about the cancer thing, and he went over with money, and this was in April 67. No, but then when did he take out? No, he took out the money the day before, but maybe he went over there and spoke to him or tried to intimidate him, told to fetch money for him or something, and then went back to him. I don't know. I'm just like thinking.
Oh yeah, that is the appropriate thing to do in this game.
Sorry.
No, nothing to be sorry about.
See what strange things we can put together.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, we have time for likely 1 or 2 more little things, but I think we have the rough case of this so far.
I think so.
So for absolute giggles, do we want to look into the lawyers? We're at the HQ. I think we have the timeline of the watch.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think we've. Yeah.
I think we can have a slight giggle.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
I mean, we've been joking about it all day. So
All the time, and I mean, we heard how much Wix wanted to take the lawyers down. I feel like like we need to grant this
Whenever
to
Blue
Wix.
Hawks changed their name to Weber, became lawyers.
You know, if there's anything about Buchanan or anything like that, I'm going to laugh my head off.
oh god.
So, before it pops up on the screen, I will let you know it took 1 hour. So
This is useful.
probably, and I know you've just recently read, but seeing you really wanted to nail the lawyers, Wix, do you want to read this one?
Oh, sure, why not? You turn on the main monitor, the 18-inch beast, made to order for Antares, that is hanging on the wall across from your desks. You begin to pin folders of data relating to Weber and Son. 2 desktop folders begin the data hunt. Excuse me, desktop towers begin the data hunt. I was confused. It's like, how are the folders hunt? All right. Use one of the machines to search the Virginia court files for cases conducted by Weber and Son. On the other, you find company employees, their accounts on social networking sites, photos, speeches, and anything else that could help you draw conclusions. You finish off some Chinese food brought in by someone from downstairs and view data about Adam Weber on your laptop, his earnings, expenses, insurance, trips. Meanwhile, the 2 desktop PCs put everything that matters on the main monitor. Unfortunately, there's not much. Weber & Son is a small law firm run by a father and son. Adam Weber, Owens' lawyer, is its owner. He specializes in submitting medical and post-accident claims. Neither his past income nor his affairs indicate anything interesting. He met Rupert Owens when the latter was caught on DUI charges. His son graduated from law school 3 years ago and has been a partner since then.
Yeah, we can't
Delightful.
push. We can't push further. So,
Interrogate him. Lock him up.
so my
Sounds like nepotism.
no kidding.
Yeah.
So my so one thing I do know is our final score in this game will also depend on how many stress tokens we have. So I would almost say we should head into the final report.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
And because we have nothing else to check in on right now anyway, in all honesty.
As curious as I am about who blocked the shreds of paper, I don't know that it's worth checking into.
Yeah.
No, the only other one I'm particularly interested in is the other cases from the officer that Michael
Slater.
Yeah.
from Hit and Run. Slater. Yeah. But that'd be more interest for like future cases.
Yeah.
But for this one, I don't know.
All right, so I think I'm going to clear that because luckily, I mean, we can happily discuss stuff in the final report. It's not just blind entering. So let's go into it, shall we? You should finish your game first. Are you ready to see and answer questions for case 1, a man with a golden watch? Yes.
Yay.
All right, final report. During the investigation, our team has determined Rupert Owens found the watch beneath the floorboards of the porch of his family home. Rupert Owens got the watch from his mother. Rupert Owens bought the watch in a pawn shop, or we don't know where Rupert Owens got the watch.
So Rupert, it was a moderate stress when he said about the floorboards.
And hearing from the father, I thought it was confirmed that he got it from the pawn shop. Marcus
This is the son.
Never mind, you're right.
This is the son who said he got it from the floorboards.
Right.
So yeah.
And
that was in 67. So Rupert would have been 8 then.
And well, so Rupert just found this watch a month ago, is what he claimed.
And he said he got it. Yeah, underneath the floorboards. But it actually, as he said, it was like a mild stress about that.
Yeah, that seemed like in between. So I don't think he bought it in a pawn shop. I definitely don't think that was the case. It's definitely connected. So it either came from his mother, but I don't think so. Especially the fact that the box and everything were together. So, or that the box and the watch were together. I would say probably beneath the floorboards.
Yeah.
Sounds
right.
like Marcus got it from Giles after the robbery and then hid it.
Yeah. Yeah, to try to keep it away from the investigation of everything going on. All right. We've also concluded that Marcus Owens, the father of Rupert Owens, was the previous owner of the watch, which he bought from Horatio Dawson. He stole from Dawson's house. He got from Henry Giles in exchange for silence, or we don't know how he got it.
Okay, now I'm thinking
Oh.
he didn't
Mm,
buy the watch, right? He
No.
bought the pendant.
He bought the pendant, not the watch.
I'm guessing Giles stole it.
But he forged it on that receipt to make it look like he bought it.
yeah.
Right.
So, stole from the Dawson house?
Well, Marcus didn't steal it.
No, it got from maybe Henry Giles, but yeah.
Because it was determined that Henry Giles is the one that stole it from the house and killed him.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so he got from Henry.
Yeah.
Okay. At some point, the watch was in possession of Horatio Dawson, and we believe that he brought it back as a memento from the campaign in Europe. He received it as a bribe while stationed at the Brenner Pass. He received it as a thank you for saving a life during a shooting in Sicily. We don't know. Bribe.
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 Station at Brenner Pass, yep.
Yep. As for where Kurt Bloodholtz got the watch, our team was able to deduce that. Oh God. Stole from one of his patients. Stole it from the museum in Posen.
Oh God. Yeah.
We may have to take the we don't know where he got it.
Oh yeah, we didn't
Wait.
find much information directly about Bloodholtz.
The town where it's from, though, wouldn't we?
He could have stolen because he was in Posen, but I don't.
Yeah.
Was, but I don't know.
Yeah,
'Cause Well, yeah, it's Walston. Yeah, with the province of Posen, it became part of the German Empire.
I don't know.
I think we're.
I don't know. I don't think he would, but because didn't they say it was like belonged to like a musician or something like that? There was something about, wasn't it something like that?
I'm trying to remember. I don't know if there was
Originally.
I don't remember what the original, because that was like the very first thing they told us, but I don't remember what they said.
Yeah, belonged to a pianist. So it
was
in Poland.
So it
Original.
was a showpiece that was looted by the Germans from the Museum of the Land in Posen.
So yeah, it was stolen then from.
So he stole it from the museum in Posen. Next. Those findings conclude our investigation in the matter of the Golden Watch. Delaware sends you an email with some additional questions. First of all, were you able to determine who might have killed Horatio Dawson?
Giles.
I think we're pretty sure it's Giles, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. And from what I can see in Mr. Dawson's file, he was a soldier in the 7th Army. Do you know about any officer that might have been involved with Dawson? And that was Samuel Brown.
Yeah, Samuel
Right.
Brown.
Yeah.
Oh, that just makes me think of something. Seeing those two names together,
Yeah. Yeah, the Slater and Brown.
General Henry Brown is the one that's faxed us to
yeah.
stop looking for the.
Mhm.
So I wonder if he's related to Samuel Brown. Interesting.
So we got a 14 out of 24.
But we case solved. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a three out of 4 right. The only thing we had wrong in the main questions was the second.
Which was what was that question there?
Let's see. Okay, I'll read this one here. You finished your job for the time being. Before heading to the nearest pub for dinner, the whole team meets with Delaware in his office. Thank you very much for completing your investigation, and make no mistake, this was an important case. He smiles briefly and points to the screen. I read your report. I've also done a little bit of my own research. Let me point out some of the things I find particularly interesting. First of all, Mr. Owens Jr. Seems that you were right about that. He found the watch underneath the floorboards on the porch of his family home. It seems that his father hid the watch there. Rupert Owens is just a small fish, a local swindler who needed the money, so he sold the watch to the auction house. Investigation has determined that the previous owner of the watch was Rupert Owens' father, Marcus Owens. You believe that he got it from Henry Giles in exchange for silence. I find it implausible. Henry Giles doesn't strike me as the type that'd be willing to share.
Oh, okay. We were a bit. We knew that obviously Giles had it, but we didn't know why he would hand it over. But so we thought it was kind of like a bribe to hush money, because he didn't know what he actually had on him.
Yeah. So I believe Horatio Dawson was in dire need of money and that he tried to sell his valuables to Marcus Owens, including the watch that tipped Henry Giles to rob his house. Now,
makes sense.
Yeah, now Mr. Dawson makes this case really interesting. It seems like an important piece of the puzzle. You think he received the watch as a bribe while stationed at Brenner Pass. I agree with that. While he was probably an honest guy and a good soldier, Horatio Dawson was most likely pressured by his fellow soldiers to take the bribe from a rich German who wanted to safe passage through the checkpoint at Brenner Pass. The rich German had to be Kurt Bloodholtz himself, escaping Europe under a fictional name. So that brings us to the last piece of the puzzle. How did Kurt Bloodholtz get the watch? You believe that he stole it from the museum in Posen. I agree with that. I specifically stated that the watch was robbed from the Museum of the Land in Posen. It must have been Bloodholtz. During his escape, he used it exactly as he intended, to secure himself a safe passage through the Allied checkpoints. Well done, detectives. I believe your report is sufficient for our administration to explain to the Polish government how the watch stolen from them during World War II ended up in the US. You can be proud of yourselves. The very first entire investigation is a success. We can take a look at the additional questions. We were wrong on who killed.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. So
It doesn't say.
Oh wait, didn't Giles get killed in a shootout with police?
yeah,
Sorry,
the next
that was
day.
real. Yeah, sorry, that was.
Well, no, but.
Eh,
Interesting.
So
Because we know Giles got killed the next day, but we didn't know. I thought all the evidence, the size 11 shoe, the blood type, pointed to Henry. Huh.
Yeah.
And I don't remember who the other options were for who killed him.
I think it was just Henry and Marcus. Thought that was the options. I'll have to look back and check.
Sorry, yeah. Who killed Dawson? Yeah, Giles got killed by police, but we thought that he'd robbed the store and forced Horatio Dawson to open the safe, and then he killed him either in a state of panic or. So interesting. So.
But and keep in mind we minus the stress tokens we ate up. We did good. 17 out of 24 is not terrible.
There's maybe the lab report, the shredded lab report might have
given us a little bit more.
Yeah,
Maybe.
because like you said, there was the investigating officer also had size 11 shoes as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Curious.
But why would he kill? Oh, this could get even.
Yeah. As
Were they in cahoots?
as part of the big old
Oh, wait. We know that he drew out all his money the day before, but we don't know what happened with the money. So was did Giles perhaps pay off the police officer and bribes? I don't know, just spitballing here.
Yeah, and but that brings us to the end of case 1.
Yay!
What did everybody think?
We did it.
Yeah, we minus two little question hiccups at the end that now in retrospect, if we would have done a little bit different, we may have had. But
Interesting setup for sure.
Yeah. This is definitely one where the big overarching case is kind of what's luring you in a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think this is really difficult getting all the answers and everything, because it just doesn't
feel like I'm in an episode of like NCIS or something.
Yeah.
It just doesn't give you enough time. There's too many like time constraints to be able to get all of those questions. It kind of backs you into a corner.
Yeah. To be able to do the best, kind of the best you can, and you have to piece it together and sort of say, all right, I'm going to put a little bit more weight on this than I am this, and try to get as much as possible. And it was one of those, like, when we came across the question on where it originally came from, it was, oh dear God, we had nothing on it. I completely forgot about the very original story until one of you pointed out, oh yeah, we learned about that from like the very opening thing. Like, oh, I'm gonna pull back out the first few pages. Like, oh yeah, it was from a museum. Oh God.
Yeah, no, I'm totally. So glad I made notes.
You absolutely have to. When even in the rules going over, it said to like make a mind web. It was like, oh dear God, yeah.
I can see that now.
I could easily have a wall with like pictures and string going between stuff. With this game.
Oh, and I guess I just thought of if we had maybe checked out the autopsy for Dawson, maybe we would have had better.
Found that was different.
Yeah.
I wondered on that one.
Anyway, can you check now so we can just to give us some peace of mind? Or spoilers.
See. Yeah, we can kind of go back here a little bit.
Spoilers, YouTubers, if you don't want to know.
Yeah, so because I know I can't punch it into the campaign now that I'm wrapped on that one.
Right.
But that was... Oh, and yeah, there's that dig deeper that I was telling you about. It's like a story in Boston that they brought someone in to write. I was like, okay, that...
Oh, nice.
Let's see. The lab was, so that's 118. Properties.
Because it did say on the like the instructional thing that I watched, it's like you're not going to get full points. There's no way you get full points on this.
This was from the paper. It was 117 was the so you get a partial print off of the 118 file.
Okay.
Oh, and I bet you this gives you maybe more of why he pulled the money out.
That's a partial print.
Yep. Because yeah, you also get file 118, so that might actually be what's on the Who's He McWhat's It, or what was on the paper to begin with. The 117 should be the autopsy. I need 117B because this just looks heavy story. Let's grab 117B. Fingerprints.
Oh.
That could have possibly given us the last little bit.
Oh, there's fingerprint.
Alcohol and intoxicating substances not found. Oval bruise on the right calf just below the knee. Bruises and numerous abrasions on the face and on the left side of the neck. 1-inch bruise above the right temple. Longitudinal abrasions as a result of collision with a cuboid object. Wood splinters found in the wounds. Discus separated. Left shoulder twisted and cracked. Cause of death, extensive trauma to the cervical segment, shifting of the 5th vertebrae, disruption of the nervous system, likely a result of the fall. So someone pushed him down the flight of stairs is what killed him. Curious.
So there's a pathologist. So was he arguing with someone?
Well, he was up the stairs opening the safe.
Hmm.
Whoever was with him up the stairs would have pushed him down.
So it's probably Marcos.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, yes. But yeah, hey, thank you guys so much for playing this one with me.
Thanks for having us.
I know you probably now have more questions than answers, but that's kind of what this game does.
Yeah, that was very interesting and deep.
But yeah, don't forget to follow our friends. Wix Life is over on Twitch, twitch.tv/WixLife. Unless that's not available and Candles ever opens up, then you can find them there. The hashtag the dream. Our friend the Brambles you can also find on Twitch, /the Brambles. And Ms. Roadie Pie you can find at twitch.tv/the Roadie Pie. And also Steam Release Podcast here on the YouTubes as well. I'll have all the links down below in the description. Do you guys have any final words, final thoughts, anything before we sign off?
Thanks for the experience.
You're welcome. You're welcome. But yeah, so
it was a lot of fun.
To our YouTube audience, TTFN, ta-ta for now.